Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the California Army National Guard's Veterans Honors Team presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Jeff Hamilton, official chaplain of Auto Club Speedway, offers our invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we enjoy today's race, we are also thoughtful of those who have experienced tragedy within the last few weeks and months. We are mindful of the fractures that seek to divide our society. So we ask your help that we would love fully and live compassionately. Thank you for the teams racing today, for those who are serving here today, for our military around the world, and the first responders here at home. And most of all, we thank you for your peace and presence that is with us. In Christ's name, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Season 3 winner of The Voice. Please welcome Grammy-nominated recording artist, Cassidy Pope.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Outstanding weather here in Southern California. Harvick has won the West. Who will slow him down? He's going for 4 in a row. Next.
these images are not it. It's just to the east of Hollywood, but might as well be an eternity away. Hardworking, industrial, blue collar to the core. This sprawling region of nearly 5 million people defines the term working class. Towns like Pomona, Fontana, Riverside, and San Bernardino dot all across it. Highways like the 10, the 210, the 15 bend all around it. Off in the shadow of Tinseltown, but with a name fit for royalty. This is the Inland Empire.
And picturesque, a live look here. History telling us that empires come and go, but with tracks at Riverside and then Ontario and now Fontana racing, a proud part of the Inland Empire's identity. It's all about the Harvick Empire these days as he goes for 4 straight, and our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. 5th race of the season with Michael Waltrip. Chris Myers getting ready for the race at Harvick. Again, the odds-on favorite. Michael, if he should stumble, who should step ahead?
Brad Keselowski. I think that team had a really fast car in practice yesterday afternoon. Talked to him during the broadcast of the Xfinity race yesterday. He loved what he was setting in. He said, we need one minor tweak, and we can go get Harvick.
And you were just down on the grid talking to drivers and crew members, and you still think that Kevin Harvick, not only the odds in your mind, he's bad fast. You tried to explain it's all science, and he's got an experienced driver who knows how to handle that Ford Busch car. And there's a look at the king of the hill at the moment, who can knock off Harvick.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome and make some noise for your Grand Marshals, Thorny J. Chandrasekhar, Rabbit Erik Stolansky, Foster Paul Souter, Mac Steve Lemmy, and Farva Kevin Heffernan, the Super Troopers.
Drivers, start your engine!
I think I was pulled over by those guys on the 210 coming into the racetrack. All right, let's head upstairs. Guy who called the race along with Jeff and Darrell, Mike Joy.
Thanks, Chris. Kevin Harvick. Does he have that 4-win clover in his pocket? How about the California kid, Kyle Larson? Kyle Busch is tired of being second. That's where he starts today. And Martin Truex Jr., 2-time pole sitter, who will end up in victory lane. You know, you mentioned the previous tracks where we've raced in the Inland Empire. It's been nearly 50 years since we had a day like today where a driver gets a chance to four-peat. That's when Dan Gurney at Riverside International Raceway, America's greatest road racer, won 4 in a row. 1 for Holman Moody and 3 for the Wood brothers. He ended up winning 5 out of 6, had a couple of poles to boot. NASCAR's greatest road racer ever. What Gurney did then, and he was beloved by race fans nationwide, is what Kevin Harvick has a chance to do here today. Can anybody stop him? Not based on practice results. Harvick's got that great chance to four-peat this afternoon. But I predict that today's winner's name will start with K. Yes, I know that gives me Kevin, Kyle, Kurt, Keselowski, and Kane. I like my odds. In Southern California, we're ready to race at the epicenter of America's car culture. Yeah, the game has changed since post-World War II, but wow, this is the place.
A win today might be the perfect Hollywood ending.
That's what makes this place so much fun and so exciting. This is incredible.
That's a man on a mission. It's rush hour in Fontana. From Southern California, it's the Auto Club 400 on Fox. Three-round knockout qualifying Friday afternoon, and your front row ends up being a pair of Toyotas, Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch. Have a look at our starting lineup on the pylon to your left.
What do you say we dial up that guy going for 4 in a row? Hey, Kevin, this is Jeff up in the Fox Sports booth. You got me?
10-4, man.
Well, man, all eyes, everybody's focus is on you. 3 in a row, now going for 4. Can you treat this like a normal race, or does the pressure of that 4 in a row and history, making history, really weigh on you?
I don't think it's really weighing on us. I think it's inspiring us, to tell you the truth. I think when you have an opportunity to do things like we're doing and have the opportunity to be a part of history in this sport, you know, it's something you want to capitalize on. So it's been very motivating. Obviously, the guys are doing a great job, our Busch for your 4, and it's been a great start to the season. But this is a place, obviously, for me, I love racing at because it's so close to home. So winning here would be pretty special.
All right, well, you're starting 10th. Give us a prediction. How many laps before you're going to be up there leading this thing? You guys looked so good at practice yesterday.
Yeah, you know, this is a tricky place. You know how it is when you get in traffic and you've seen, you know, where everybody wants to run. So we got to find somewhere to run that everybody else doesn't. Hopefully we can make some good time without being super abusive on the tires. So that's the key, is trying to make time but not tearing the tires up.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
Now, a lot of fast cars did not get to qualify Friday. They didn't get through inspection. They'll be coming from the back. Let's talk to one of those.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin starting 25th. Denny Hamlin, it's DW. You got me there, buddy.
10-4.
Hey, man, starting a little deep in the field, but so far it seems like it's been a Stewart-Haas versus the Gibbs teams. What are you looking for today, pal?
Well, we're obviously deep in the pack, but I'd like to try to get somewhere in that top 10 by the end of the first stage. And work our way from there. I thought we had a top 5 car in practice. You know, a little bit better than that in the long run. So if we can just get our car to take off on restarts, I think we'll have a pretty good day.
Buddy, you like this racetrack? You've had mixed results here. How do you feel about your car and today?
You're really, the results that show exactly how good we've run at this racetrack. I think this has been one of our better tracks really for the last 7-8 years, even though results don't show. But you know, it's one I'd really like to win at for obvious reasons. You know, I'd like to check it off the box and see what we can do today.
All right, my friend, good luck, and maybe you can check that box today.
Denny Hamlin starting 25th. There are still a lot of early VWs in Southern California, but there's only one, Vince Welch.
Well, thank you, Mike. You know, a year ago, Martin Truex Jr. dominated much of this race, but he stayed out for a late caution and ended up 4th. Well, Truex and the 78 team strong again this weekend. They won the pole on Friday, but there's been some room for improvement in their long-run car. Were the changes made for today the right changes? We're about to find out. Matt Yoakum?
Vince, probably the best Ford in the field without a 4 on the side this season has belonged to Brad Keselowski. Now, this weekend they struggled somewhat due to the new left side tire. It caught them off guard, but in the final practice, final run, they hit that sweet spot. They feel like they've dialed in that 2 car. Expectations are for everyone to go up high. They're hoping to work the bottom down in 3 and 4. Jamie?
Well, Matt, Chase Elliott finished 3rd a week ago at Phoenix. It was his best finish of the year, and Hendrick Motorsports as well. But they failed post-race inspection. They were hit with a big penalty. Well, they got here on Friday, and they were one of those 13 cars that failed pre-qualifying inspection. As a result, he starts 31st. His crew chief, Alan Gustafson, though, told me today is back to work. We think we're a top 10 car, and in order to get there, we're going to have a lot of patience and give it a lot of time. Larry Mack?
Jamie, things are going to be very busy on this racetrack, but trust me, they're going to be busy on pit road. The lap times slow down so much here. Every time the yellow flies, those pit crews 4 fresh tires for their driver. Let's take a look at our race analysis now. 200 laps, 400 miles we're going to go. The stages 1 and 2 are 60 laps each, 80 laps the final stage. Pit road speed 55, fuel window 44 to 48 laps. The grip level of 1 like driving on ice. Now going to the rear, we have 4 drivers. Daniel Suarez, a practice crash, a backed up car. Gray Galding, an engine change. Michael McDowell, rear gear change. And Alex Bowman, an engine change. Actually, in final practice, Alex Bowman in that 88 car broke a valve spring. Let's use our Ford Performance car to show you about the valve spring. There are 2 per cylinders, an intake and exhaust. And this is only a 400-mile race, but the engine guys are very nervous about these valve springs because of these long straightaways, over 9,000 RPM. So they really are the weak link in the valve train. And Mike, that's the reason a lot of engine guys put fresh valve springs on this morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Larry. Kevin Harvick, the big favorite, will roll off 10th. So that's 5 rows behind the 2018 Toyota XSE pace car that leads the field. Now, the reason for Harvick being that far back, he won the first 2 rounds of knockout qualifying. He was fastest. But you see those seams, those dark black lines between the courses of asphalt? Harvick got caught on one of those seams and slid during his qualifying lap in the 3rd round and ended up 10th.
Yeah, it cost him.
Yeah, and we're going to see a lot more of that today.
Look how wide this racetrack is. The start and the restarts are going to be wild today. You must hold station till you get to that line, and then it's on.
It is on, and it gives a whole new meaning to fanning out, because we're going to see a lot of that. I know everybody's anxious, everybody's excited. I know I am. Best part of the race for me, I love it when that green flag goes in the air and boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys!
Wide off turn 2, and here they come from the back. Wow. You know, on that break into turn 1, Martin Truex changed lanes about 4 times to keep Kyle Busch behind him, and he never signaled, just like out on the 405.
But twice I think he meant to do that. The other 2 times I'm not so sure.
Right.
But that's what makes these starts so critical, is you don't know what lane they're going to choose behind you, so you're trying to block their momentum and keep them behind you, but there's so many options, it's almost impossible to do.
And Mike, I think it's going to be kind of interesting and fun to watch these guys, really good cars in the back of the field, that are going to try to work their way up to the front in a hurry. Already we see Denny Hamlin on the move.
3 wide down there on the inside.
Now, there is no out of bounds here. That white line down at the bottom of the banking, that's advisory.
And this is another thing I love. Look at that. That's amazing view of how wide this racetrack is. But you saw our leader, Martin Truex Jr., down on the apron, all 4 tires almost down below. And then Kyle Busch was 3 lanes above that.
And Mike, you might say, why they go down there? There are no seams on the apron.
Now, the Penske cars both just took the low side to gain spots down the front straightaway, running below the line. That's Hamlin's number 11. Working on Suarez. Here comes Chase Elliott in the 9 with William Byron with him. And Brad Keselowski battling Ryan Newman for 8th. 3 wide again. Matt DiBenedetto up on the outside.
And they've got a few laps while these tires are fresh and new. Air pressures are building up, but there's going to be a lot of grip. But that grip is going to go away fast, and that's where I think it's going to be tough to stay down on the inside lane. So you got to take advantage of it while you can, like we see Denny Hamlin doing.
Now, Mike, one thing, the wide racetrack with all the options these drivers have that makes it kind of fun for the driver. You can make a bit of a mistake. You can get a little bit loose. You can push up a little bit, and you got enough room to recover without running over somebody. As we see here, just 3-4 wide through the corners.
Harvick right where he started in 10th place.
Well, but remember, Mike, last week he didn't dominate the race. He led 38 laps of that race. So I wouldn't expect him to just charge to the lead right now. There's some good cars in front of him.
Yeah, he can be really patient. He knows how good his car is, and it seems to only get better against the competition as the run goes on.
I think he sizes them up. I think he sits there and watches everybody see where they're good, what we got to do to get, to run with these guys, and then he attacks.
Well, we were just watching. He passed for 9th place with Ryan Newman. He made that look pretty easy.
I think sometimes you look in your mirror and say, oh, darn, there's that Harvick. I guess I'll let him go. I don't want to hold him up.
Austin Dillon, Jamie McMurray. Now, Dillon started 5th. He's at 12th right now. McMurray's gained 2 spots. And coming up from the back, Bowman, Suarez, Almirola fighting their way through the field.
And Mike, it's no more fun than when you're in everybody's head and everybody's calling in saying, hey, where's Harvick? What line's he running? What's he doing? That's when you're having fun if you're Harvick.
Well, Bowman's having a lot of fun because he's gained 15 positions since the green flag.
He likes
only 5 laps.
He likes his new engine. I think he was pretty good in practice, and then they had to, cut it short because of the engine change. But that's a kid we all expect to win a race for too long.
8th and 9th. This time Keselowski stays high in turns 3 and 4.
Now, what impressed me so much about that move that Kevin Harvick made is usually the top group has the momentum off the corner and can sort of do a crossover on you. But we saw there, Kevin Harvick made that pass look pretty easy.
Obviously, Mike, if you can run the bottom, it's the shortest way around the corner. But the problem is if you can carry speed off the corner to complete the pass, Harvick was able to do that with ease.
Six laps led for Martin Truex Jr. And after the initial scuffle into turn 1, Kyle Busch has held station in 2nd. Half a second back. With Erik Jones 3rd, here's 6th place. Couple of Fords, Busch and Blaney. Then Harvick up to 8th.
I think Harvick, he almost swept. He won the first. He set the track record in the first round of qualifying Friday. He was quickest in the 2nd round. He had a problem in the 3rd round, or I think he would have swept all 3 rounds and started from the pole.
Here's our Fox Visor Cam. Thanks to Erik Jones and the Joe Gibbs Racing, the number 20 team, for carrying that for us this week.
And what I love about the Visor Cam is it lets the people at home see, first of all, how hard he's working. You see him working the wheel, but also how he's jostled around in the seat. The driver's not just sitting there like there's nothing going on. He's getting a lot of body movement as he goes around the racetrack.
Back in 9th place, one of those quick Fords, Brad Keselowski, 5 seconds back of the leader, Matt.
Confidence is high, Mike, for Brad Keselowski. Just telling Paul Wolf the car driving extremely well. The exit really strong. But everyone here today multitasking, keeping an eye on their car and also the lane of the Ford.
18 is between the top seams. The 20 is splitting the middle seam to the high side. Truex has gone between the top seams. First 3 cars are up there. Harvick is not on the apron, but he's running the bottom lane through 3 and 4 behind you.
Why do you want to know that?
Yeah, because you're trying to get as much speed out of the car as you possibly can. If there's somebody that's making something else work and you're struggling to get by a car in front of you or make that lap time up, you want to try and search around. And if somebody's doing something that's working, then you need that information. But I hate to tell the competition and the spotters, but it doesn't matter where the 4 car goes right now.
It doesn't. He's coming, baby. Up to 6.
Kevin Harvick from 10th to 6th, trying to win his 4th in a row. Can he be stopped? We'll see. Martin Truex Jr. has led every one of the 10 laps so far.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing Auto Club 400 is sponsored by the Ford Hall of Fans. Are you the world's greatest NASCAR fan? Here's your chance to prove it. Go to NASCAR.com/Ford.
13 laps complete. New leader in Fontana. Kyle Busch goes up to the high side on Martin Truex Jr. and makes it look easy.
Yeah, he had been working the last couple laps that very outside lane right up against the wall. Found some grip.
Let's get an update on the leading Toyotas. Vince.
Well, both Martin Truex Jr., who started from the pole, and Kyle Busch, who started alongside him there in the front row, saying their cars are both free here in the early going. Crew Chief Cole Pern telling Truex to use that track bar adjuster inside the cockpit to snug you up a little bit. But right now, Kyle Busch's car just handling a little bit better than that 78. And now Truex feeling a little pressure from behind again for second.
Yeah, it's not just two, it's three Toyotas at the head of the field. Last year's Rookie of the Year from Michigan, Erik Jones, running third, 3 seconds off the lead. What would it mean to Erik to win a race in the Monster Cup Series?
I think for me, the second season, I think the playoffs are really something we need to make this year. I think last year we definitely should have made the playoffs, had a few things went a little bit differently. So this year, making the playoffs is huge for us, as well as contending and trying to win a race. I'd love to get our first race win this year. I think we have a great shot to do it.
A lot of people think that will happen in 2018.
And a lot of these all these young guys really have a great racing mentality. They understand racing. They understand their crew, their car, what they need to do to win. They work hard at it. Erik is a great kid, and after a year last year under his belt, he's a guy I think that I would put a circle around to win a race this year early on.
Company's coming.
And we just see Larson moved ahead of Erik Jones off of turn 4.
And there's Kevin Harvick, still 4 seconds back of the lead. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick, what a weekend he has had already. Started 10th here, up to 5th. Crew Chief Rodney Childers, even though they were fastest in the first 2 practice sessions, they felt like their tire fall off was just too quick, and they also needed to turn better. So he felt like the end of practice yesterday, they made it better. He felt like they had better drive off than anybody else, off the corner that is. And this morning he told me they didn't make any adjustments. Kevin Harvick saying a little bit tight into 3.
Clint Boyer battling Jimmie Johnson for 20th position.
Yeah, he's really not moved up through the field the way I thought he would. We've seen where Stewart-Haas Racing's been so strong among the entire group. And I thought Boyer was one of those that was really going to shine this week, but maybe a few adjustments before they could do that.
Yeah, I know the fans maybe didn't tune in for qualifying, but everybody started today on equal tires. Sometimes the tires are, you have to start on what you qualify. Somebody in the back's got new tires, give them advantage. Today, everybody was on a level playing field. I think that's why we haven't seen somebody storming from the back to the front. Everybody started on brand new tires today.
Aric Almirola all in the top 10 at Phoenix for the first time. In fact, you look at what happened on the last lap of the Daytona 500. Had Almirola not gotten walled, Stewart-Haas would have won every race this season instead of just 3 out of 4.
And Jeff and I were talking about that this morning. We were down on pit road there for a little while. We were kind of walking by the cars. Just think, the Ford is the oldest car here. Toyota has a new car. Chevrolet has a new Camaro. I think it's helped these Ford guys refine this car till they get every ounce of performance it has.
Yeah, the way that NASCAR's inspecting the cars this year, I don't see where Ford has really lost anything. If anything, maybe they've gained.
So Kyle Busch, Martin Truex leading in Toyotas. Kyle Larson's Chevy in 3rd, and Kevin Harvick now 4th in his Ford.
Plowing tight. Into 3. Can't do anything. Into 3, through the middle of 3 and 4. 4.
Well, I hate to see what happens if he gets that fixed. I did see the lap before where Kyle Larson went down to the bottom in 3 and 4, ran that same groove that Harvick was running, and it did affect the aerodynamics on Kevin Harvick's car.
Been a long time since anyone but Kyle Larson has won on a 2-mile speedway in NASCAR. It's been 5 races ago, in fact. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, Kyle Larson, your leaders. Welcome back to Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Fontana, California. Right there, that piece of trash gets taken away off the bumper of Kyle Busch's car thanks to the flow of air off Martin Truex.
Yeah, he talks a little trash, but just picked up a little trash, but he got rid of it.
Kyle Busch with a 1-second lead over Martin Truex, and even though we've all been saying Kevin Harvick is the prohibitive favorite, our computer model, Bernie, really likes Kyle Busch today, making him the pick over Kevin Harvick. Pole sitter Martin Truex, Austin Dillon, who's had a pole here and great success, and Denny Hamlin are Bernie's top 5.
You see Joey Logano on pit road in a 22 car. What these teams are going to do, even though they can go 44 to 48 laps, Mike, they're going to split this stage in half. And I think with Joey coming to pit road, you will see an epidemic. You cannot stay out there on these older tires.
Vince?
Well, the issue with Logano, he said it's just too tight, and when he raises the track bar to help the tightness, it hurts his exit. So it's going to be a 4-tire change, air pressure adjustment as well in the 22 of Joey Logano, looking to take that tightness out of that 22 machine.
So he's the only car to stop at lap 26. Kevin Harvick.
Yeah,
over Kyle Larson for 3rd.
Kevin Harvick took advantage of the 0-0 slowing of Jeffrey Earnhardt, was able to make that pass on Larson. Some more cars coming to pit road.
Yeah, this looks like Newman and Austin Dillon, teammates at Richard Childress Racing. Matt?
And Mike, you're seeing a lot of cars entering that box like Larry Mack talked about. Chassis adjustment on the 3 car of Austin Dillon, fighting just too tight through the center of the corner. His teammate, the 31, Ryan Newman, he is in as well, looking to maybe improve on the balance of the car on exit for the 31.
A lot of 4-tire changes under green here at lap 27.
Now, we saw this last week where the 18 of Kyle Busch stayed out longer than some of the other competitors. Now, this track this weekend, you're going to have a lot of fall off and lose a lot of time. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick going for a 4th straight win. He gets that clear tear off for better view. A 4-tire stop here, said he just can't do anything between corners 3 and 4. Vince?
78 of Martin Truex Jr. has just been a little bit too free today, so they're going to make a 4-tire change, air pressure adjustment as well to help the pole winner. The 20 of Erik Jones in also. They have been really happy with this race car, a top 5 to 10 car all weekend long, they feel, and they'll be disappointed if they don't get that kind of result today.
So here comes race leader Kyle Busch to pit road, 3 laps into this green flag pit cycle. Matt?
And the 2 of Brad Keselowski, his pit road. Jake Ciminera seemed like a lifer at Joe Gibbs Racing. He has migrated over to Team Penske. Changer there on the back. His free slips coming around the back of the car. Doesn't waver, hits those lugs. A nice kick of the tire back to the wall. Vince, the car too tight on exit.
Clean pit stop so far for the 18 of Kyle Busch. He said he just started losing the rear on exit, so they made a slight air pressure adjustment, Jamie.
Jamie McMurray is the race leader. He has not stopped. Neither has Ross Chastain or Cole Witt. But among the contenders, here's McMurray now to pit road, and that will complete this green flag pit stop cycle. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. cycle through back to 1-2.
Yeah, you can see we're coming in a lap earlier than Kyle Busch. The 78 was able to really make up a lot of time, but I think those fresher tires of the 18 are going to prevail.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. They're running the bottom at 3 and 4. We heard Harvick say his car went away down there, had to move up the hill a little bit. But I think when you got fresh tires on, you're going to see these guys run the high line of 1 and 2 here up high like you see. But when they get down to 3 and 4, they'll be right down on that apron.
Guys, we talked about Joey Logano being the first to commit to pit road. You see him just out of frame right there, sitting back in 3rd, just about a 1.5 seconds behind leader Kyle Busch. That was like worth 3 seconds to him over anybody else.
Right before pit stops, Logano was 7 seconds behind the race leader, and now he's within 2. Great strategy move in the early going here, halfway through stage 1 of the Auto Club 400. Martin Truex Jr., the only driver to lead every race in 2018. Out in front now by 1.5 seconds and beginning to pull away a little bit from Kyle Busch. Great race for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We heard about Joey Logano's strategy. Kyle Larson alongside Harvick now trying to retake 3rd.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick really does not want to give up this position. He knows Kyle Larson is a threat for the win here for him. You can see that side draft pulling the 42 of Larson back ahead of the 4 Kevin Harvick. He's going to go down to that apron and see if he can't shortcut this track and jump up in front of Harvick. Harvick has the momentum though off of turn 4.
3rd place. Can Larson shut the door? No.
Plays it conservative.
It's just when you get up high like that, Mike, you just have so much speed coming off that corner. You're down on the bottom like Larson was. You slow the car down a little bit, pinch it down.
Larson tried to drive in really deep into the corner into turn 1, got loose underneath the 4 of Harvick. Love this battle.
Well, let's go back 3 laps when this all began with Joey Logano.
Well, remember, Joey Logano had short pitted, so he had about 4 or 5 more laps on his tires. He's starting to lose a little bit of grip, and these 2 are coming strong behind him. And look at the run that Kevin Harvick has on that outside.
Woo! Woo!
Elevator move, top to bottom, boys.
Close. Yeah, I think Joey Logano's strategy, short-term gain, long-term loss.
I think Kyle Larson definitely has a little bit better race car right now than Kevin Harvick. I think Harvick, you know, that we talked about him being a little bit snug and tight with those front tires the run before. I don't know if they loosen him up, and it's gotten him too loose.
You know what I like about Larson? Now, you saw his car get loose, jump sideways a couple of times. A lot of guys that back off and say, hey, I'm too loose, I can't do anything. Not him. He just keeps putting it in there and putting it in there and hanging on to it and moving forward.
Heck, I think he drives it harder when it's loose.
When he's loose.
All these California kids that grew up on the home tracks of California. 2 of the best battling right here. Placerville Speedway is Kyle Larson's home track. Mesa Marin, which has now been closed for about a decade, that's where Kevin Harvick started. And how about Rio Linda? 1/20th of a mile around, but plenty big enough for those quarter midgets.
Oh, the contact between Larson and 4 Harvick.
Wow.
All of that.
Boy, that's done a lot of damage.
What the hell is he doing there? No idea. He just drove right in the side of us.
Caution is out. Kevin Harvick's bid for 4 may have just come undone. What happens here?
Let's see what they're close together going down the back.
Harvick comes down, and then the 42 comes up. They make contact. It turned the 42 sideways into the 4 Harvick, and he made heavy contact with the outside wall.
Yeah, that right front took a lick. I'm going to say, Mike, that was just one car went down a little bit, and one car came up a little bit. I don't know if I could put a blame on either guy.
I'm not exactly sure why Harvick came down at all.
Let's see if he gets loose coming off turn 2. Before this gets started here.
And you can see the 42. Yeah,
he slips up the hill a little bit.
Gets him a little loose.
Yeah.
And it looked like Harvick gathered it back up. Maybe didn't quite appreciate the 42 getting him loose like that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I can blame that all on.
No, I'd say Kevin was definitely moving left when that happened. Boy, he's so lucky. I know it's a hard lick to right from it. He's lucky to hit the end of that wall.
Clear, back inside, back inside. Nice for the straight.
Wow.
Easy. Hold it.
Pit road is open under the first caution flag of the day. Matt.
Keselowski pits in the 5th position. Said the car was excellent. Really didn't know what else to tune on to make it any better here on the 2. Jamie?
Kyle Larson in the 42, they did have a fender rub. They'll take some tires here, but minimal damage for him, unlike the 4, Vince.
Well, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr., the changes they made definitely helped. And that's the good news, as you see rear tire changer Lee Cunningham going to work. 4 tires. Truex likes the changes from that first stop of the air pressure adjustment.
He had a great run after that stop, pulled out a lead. And here they come off pit road. Now, Kevin Harvick's team will have 6 minutes on pit road to make repairs, and that's timed from pit entry to pit exit, and try to get him back up there and up to speed if he's going to be able to continue. Larson, Truex, crash. .41 laps complete in Fontana. We listened in to Kyle Larson and his side of the story.
I mean, he's an idiot for racing that hard for 30 laps into a race.
He didn't do a damn thing wrong there, so he's going to be mad, but I didn't do anything wrong but race him.
No, it was him. We let him go when he run us down, then he wants to run out on our door all the way around.
Well,
let's take a look.
Yeah, we've been watching this battle. They were not willing to give an inch the last several laps trying to get to third position. We see Kyle Larson come to the left rear quarter panel and get Kevin Harvick a little bit loose. Looked like Kevin's already a little loose. Then right here, I think Harvick is upset. He comes down. I can't say that Kyle Larson did anything wrong, and that actually turned the 4 of Harvick into that outside wall.
That's where the seams are very helpful, because Larson never moved, and you see Kevin, he came to the left, and I think he was going to just let him know he wasn't happy, but it went bad.
Harvick's car is back on pit road. It made repairs, went out, came back in, changed tires. And now we'll exit once again and we'll restart almost a lap behind the leaders. 18 to go in stage 1. Three wide again.
It's going to be like that on every one of these restarts.
Chase Elliott down to the inside. So is Brad Keselowski, trying to move up into second.
It's going to be about an 18-lap shootout to the end of this stage.
Kind of interesting. You got the Toyotas against the Fords. It's the two Fords of Penske, though, that are up there. And Brad Keselowski trying to get around Kyle Busch. Didn't quite make it. I know we've talked about Austin Dillon a little bit, and we got a little pass here with the 88 and the 24. But that 3 car is impressing the heck out of me. He's running up here in the top 5 right now, looking pretty good.
This is a good track for him. He qualified really well here on Friday. He's been a pole winner in the past here. I don't think the 48 of Jimmie Johnson has something to say about this battle. He's been slowly but surely making his way forward. This is such a great track for him that I think that experience can maybe get him that first top 10 of this season.
You know who has the most wins here? Jimmie Johnson. You know who's led the most laps here?
Jimmie Johnson.
You know who has the most top 5s here?
Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson. Let's get an update on Kevin Harvick's damage. Jamie.
Well, Mike, you saw how much cosmetic damage he had on the right front, the right rear, the bumper cover. But the biggest issue for Kevin Harvick, he said the steering wheel was off about 6 inches to the right. So that second time down pit road, they took a look at the toe and the front tires to see if that was knocked out. They're not 100% sure right now that it's still good to go. So they're keeping an eye on the Ford.
Now he's 2 laps down, Jamie, and being passed in the backstretch by Jeffrey Earnhardt. Everybody's kind of weighing in on what happened in the back straightaway there. How about Brad Keselowski's spotter, Joey Meyer?
The 4 came down on the 42.
Yeah, I agree with that. I saw that overhead replay. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, the 42 is a nose ahead of him, actually. Then the 4 came down to his door or something.
Well, Brad had as good a view as anybody.
I think that was Harvick. He wanted to let Kyle Larson know, I'm not happy with the way you raced me off turn 2. Going to get down on his door. Maybe you rattled his cage a little bit, and it went bad.
Well, we talked before that happened about how important it was for Kevin Harvick not to let Kyle Larson get by him and drive off. Could he have been coming down trying to get a little side draft off Larson to beat him into turn 3?
Well, what we've also talked about is the confidence of Kevin Harvick and how calm and smooth he has been in these last 3 races and not get rattled by anything. To me, finally, somebody rattled Kevin Harvick a little bit, and I think that played a role.
Yeah, I think we just saw an in-car shot of his steering wheel. Mike, the tape on the steering wheel is the telltale as to where the steering wheel's off to the right or the left. And so far, it looked like it was not that far off. Maybe a little bit, but not much.
Now the next question is, what kind of damage did the 42 of Kyle Larson suffer? Were they able to patch that up, and is he going to be as fast as he was before that accident?
Well, Larson restarted 20th. He's worked his way up to 14th. As we look in on the 10th place battle, Chase Elliott, Clint Boyer, Erik Jones.
Yeah, you see Clint Boyer trying to make that pass on Chase Elliott on the inside. I think his car's made some improvements, and he almost had that pass done, but you see with the momentum of the outside how that plays out.
Look who's battling for 3rd. Team Penske. Teammates Keselowski and Logano.
I think Logano was looking for a little bit of help there. Thought he was going to slide up in front of the 2. Oh, trouble.
And their teammate Ryan Blaney has tagged the wall.
It's so easy to do here when you run right up next to it, and particularly off turn 4.
And remember those seams, how easy it is to get your left sides or right sides on one of those seams and lose the back of the car.
See the back of that car.
He's already loose.
You see the back of that car moving, and then he gets it real loose.
Boy, that's dirt tracking right there at 180 miles an hour.
Blaney was 8th. He's now 15th. We're going to take you side by side. Thank you. Best race on the track with 8 to go in stage 1. Back here at 15th. Denny Hamlin just ahead of Paul Menard in the 21. Daniel Suarez in the 19.
And then right behind that teammate, the Hendrick teammates are going at it too.
Martin Truex now up 3.5 on Kyle Busch.
I'm so impressed with Cole Pern and Martin Truex Jr. They faded a little bit to second at the beginning of this race. They made some adjustments. I think their car's a little bit loose. They made some air pressure adjustments, and boy, they are checking out on Kyle Busch.
Hey, look at his lap times. He's 3/10 quicker than the second place car right now of Kyle Busch every lap. That's a lot of tenths. 3 on a racetrack.
And to catch back up on Kevin Harvick, he is 36th of 37, 2 laps down. There are 4 cars 1 lap down ahead of him. And let's get an update from Jamie.
Well, interesting scenario going on here, Mike. In the 4, NASCAR came over and took a look at the Barabon that the team was working with, and they were cutting it and shaping it to go on the car. This is what they were looking at, and they were flexing it like they didn't like something about it. So the team's shaking their head. They told Rodney Childers, the crew chief, and the team brought out some backup Barabon that they're now forming on the pit wall in case he does come back down. So interesting what they're looking at here.
Yeah, guys, when you look at the damaged vehicle policy that started back the beginning of last year, 2017, there are certain body parts that are mandated at different size racetracks. But the biggest thing is you can only use duct tape or bungee cords or regular Barabon that Jamie just talked about. And I think NASCAR became aware last year that teams actually had some Barabon or duct tape that had some thin aluminum in it. And they pretty much told teams you cannot use that to repair your vehicle.
I think it's pretty smart, though, to be that prepared, to have that in the pits in case you needed it. And who knows, if it got on the car, could have been a lifesaver.
It looked like it had a lot of aluminum in it.
That's right, because you're no longer allowed to go to the garage and repair crash damage and come back out. All those repairs have to be done on pit road and in a very limited amount of time. So fighting for the last stage point are Jamie McMurray and Clint Boyer. Vince?
Bowyer started 26th and really struggled the first run. They were way too tight, but they came in and took a major swing at it on that first pit stop. Chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment, and made the car a lot better. And since then, Bowyer has been on the move, now moving past McMurray into that 10th spot. Going to get him a stage point if he can hang on, if not more.
At 8th place, 12 seconds back of the lead, Erik Jones passing Austin Dillon.
I think the track conditions are throwing quite a few teams off, because in practice, Erik Jones, I thought he was one of the top 2 or 3 cars, and it looks like they've had to make some adjustments and fell back a little bit. So we'll see if those adjustments don't get the balance right for Erik Jones.
Yeah, I think those first couple of pit stops, sometimes you jump, you know, you go too far one way or the other, get the car off, takes a time or two to get in there and get it right. So I think it's what some of these guys did. Maybe they were loose and they got it too tight, kind of find some balance in there somewhere.
Well, Martin Truex Jr. is about to do something he did 19 times last year. Win a stage. He led the league in stage wins en route to the 2017 championship. 2 laps to go, stage 1.
He's making up for lost time today, I can tell you that, because he is checked out.
Mike, you see Jimmie Johnson here in the 48 car. I know we still have a lap and a half to go before the end of stage 1. If he can stay in the top 10, this will be the first stage points that Jimmie Johnson has scored in 2018.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
You know what that tells me? One brick at a time. They're working their way back.
Well,
one brick at a time.
Johnson looking for his first top 10 finish in the last 10 races. Final lap, stage 1. Truex up by 3.5, almost. Logano and Keselowski 7 back of the lead. Only 1 caution so far, but it was a big one. Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick making contact with substantial damage to Harvick's car, though he was able to continue.
Mike, you hear it.
MTJ right here, bud.
Martin Truex Jr. wins stage 1 for Furniture Row Racing from Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and Jimmie Johnson.
You can hear them pedaling off the corner over there. That cars are ready to come on. Denny, here's a good move on his part. Look at that. Good job.
And Denny Hamlin stole that final stage point from Austin Dillon. Caution is out to end stage 1. Defending series champion and today's pole sitter Martin Truex on top.
Chevy, the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall.
Stage 1 ends with a familiar face out front, Martin Truex Jr. 19 stage wins last year, but it has taken until now, race 5, to get his first stage win of the season. Pit road will open this time. Ross Chastain will get the free pass. That'll give us 29 cars on the lead lap when we begin stage 2. So Cole Pearn's crew that won last year's championship ready to go to work. There they are.
See the patches on the uniform, 78 PC2. That kind of identifies each team member. They all have a number on their uniform.
Road crew is RC, and pit crew, over the wall pit crew, PC. NASCAR limits the number of people over the wall and the number in the garage for each team. That's why they are numbered beginning this year. Pit road's open, Matt.
Mike, Penske Ford's running 3rd and 4th. Brad Keselowski in the 2 car. The previous run said didn't really know what to do to improve the car. It was so stout, but it had started to go away. He lost a little bit on entry and as well on exit. They waved off doing a chassis adjustment. Instead, Keselowski will start the track bar down a 1/4 inch. And Seminara slips one more time from that brake dust, Jamie.
And Kyle Larson worked his way up to 6th, but since the damage with Kevin Harvick, he said he was working the track bar up in 1 and 2, down in 3 and 4, a big wedge adjustment to help that in 4 tires, Vince.
Significant changes in the 78 by crew chief Cole Pearn overnight, and they have hit the sweet spot, and then an air pressure adjustment on that first stop made it darn near perfect. No changes and 4 tires this time around, and Cole Pearn is clearing away.
Wow, 3 wide coming off pit road. Joey Logano picks up 2 spots to be the first car off pit road. Here's your race off, about half a car length.
We say we dial up our stage 1 winner. Hey Martin, this is Jeff, you got me? Let's try it again. Hey Martin, this is Jeff up in the Fox Sports booth, you got me?
Yeah, I got you, Jeff.
Well, buddy, I mean, you probably got sick and tired of talking to us last year. You won so many stage wins with 19. Hard to believe this is your first stage win of the season, but it looks like Cole and the boys down there doing a great job on pit road. Make some great adjustments. How's it feel? Okay. Uh-oh.
Since we won one, so it feels good to get our first one of the year. We've been solid and been consistent, but we just been kind of searching for that balance and that little bit extra speed. So I feel like we got it today. See if we can keep up with it here.
Well, it looks like you got the bounce just right now. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Have fun up there, guys.
Martin Truex Jr. wins stage 1 for Furniture Row Racing. And we move on to stage 2. Getting ready for the restart for stage 2. Martin Truex Jr. stage 1 winner. Let's go to Jamie Little at the eBay Motors pit box.
Well, Mike, oftentimes people ask me, what do you guys mean by stagger? Well, when we race at an oval, what it basically means is the left side tire is just a little bit smaller than the right side tire. Here at Auto Club Speedway, the left side is about 1 inch in diameter smaller than the right. Now, the recommended air pressure from Goodyear in the left side is 19 here, minimum. 45 minimum on the right side. And you'll hear us talk about air pressure adjustments all day. They want to adjust those to air temperatures in these tires to help overall grip. And by the way, our cars at home, you're about 32 to 35 PSI, so quite a difference between these two tires.
Yeah, but at home, I hope you're the same left side to the right. I hope you're not setting stagger for your morning commute based on left turns versus rights.
Unless you're like me and you make only lefts all the way to work.
They're your stage 1 point earners on the left as we approach the Geico restart zone.
Whoa, boy, the 78 didn't get a very good restart. Spun the tires, cost him.
Great coverage from the Goodyear blimp as they fan out all the way across this big, wide super speedway.
Isn't that an awesome? I love that overhead shot like that. You can see so much.
So Keselowski trying to get to the inside quarter pound of the 78.
Hey, what about that car with a 48 on it?
Yeah, where did he come from?
Look at him up in there.
After pit stops, Johnson restarted 5th.
He's going to go to 4th.
Mike, you know what Camaro means? You know the definition of Camaro?
Now, hold on, Dito. I watched Mike educating us on these. I can't wait to hear this.
It was a made-up name by Chevrolet, but they said it was kind of like French for friend.
That's exactly right. I knew I couldn't stump you. No, Chevrolet said it ate Mustangs.
Oh, is that okay?
Really loose off of turn 2. The 2 car was able to stay on the inside and hold position on Jimmie Johnson. You can see Jimmie tried to squeeze in the throttle there and back end stepped out, almost got the wall. And now Larson's peeking to the outside of Jimmie Johnson.
Oh, I don't think we've heard the last of Kyle Larson. He will claw his way back into this thing. He'll be somebody they have to contend with before it's over with.
And just a final update on Kevin Harvick. He's now 5 laps down after more stops for repairs. But since he has cleared NASCAR's damaged vehicle policy, the rest of the race, they can work on that all they want. Almirola to the outside of Jamie Mack.
Ooh, that was really close racing between Jamie McMurray and Almirola. Jamie tried to dive in there and clear him, but didn't quite do it, and the 10 was right on his quarter panel. That's a vulnerable position to be in where it can suck the back end around.
Just like this little 10 car, they just keep working on it, working on it. And just remember, his crew chief school upset the #1 seed in the tournament.
Well, most of these NASCAR drivers like anything on wheels, and it doesn't have to be 4. Here's Matt.
Mike, it's become a West Coast tradition for Jimmie Johnson, a number of his cycling buddies that work in the Cup Series garage, to go cycling here when they come to Southern California. They left Ontario on Thursday and climbed Mount Baldy to an elevation of 6,500 feet. Snow and freezing weather kind of halted the climb there, but obviously, even though it was cold, great views and a good time had by all. They probably killed about 4,000 calories on their little journey.
A great ride. And Jimmie told us at dinner, he said, you know, the old type bicycle brakes where a shoe squeezes against the rim was overheating the beads in the tires, just like on these race cars. They had to change those bikes over to disc brakes.
Boy, we're very familiar with that. We've seen that even maybe at Phoenix last week.
Well, the snow is so much lower this year, and it's been in the past. I just didn't want to. It's just I like when the snow's a little higher. You got to go up a little further. Yeah, that's I just didn't try it this year.
And you've ridden up Mount Baldy. Jimbo was driving.
I know there's some really interesting things up on Mount Baldy.
Okay.
Because you've seen photographs.
Joey Logano has a mirror full of Martin Truex.
Putting up a great fight.
Yeah.
You got to be impressed with the fight that Joey Logano has. I mean, he's great on restarts. He got out there, got a little distance between himself and Martin Truex Jr. Working on that car throughout this entire race on pit road, trying to make some adjustments. I like what he's doing right now.
Remember, I think he led 139 of 150 laps yesterday. So he knows this racetrack pretty well right now.
But look at who's the biggest mover since the restart. Kurt Busch fired off 14th and has now climbed back up to 8th. He restarted 14th because of an issue on the stop. Martin Truex Jr. takes the lead from Joey Logano going to the bottom and is back out front here at lap 73. So, Matt, what happened to Kurt Busch?
Well, the issue took place on the front of the car, Mike. Shane Papala, the front tire changer, when he went to go hit the lugs on the right side, he started to lose power in the gun, but he was able to complete the stop on that side of the car, went to the left side, got 4 lugs taken care of, and then the switch went to the reverse, and it started to take the lug off, lost time, got it back on, but the net loss was 8 spots.
Third place, Kyle Busch under Brad Keselowski.
Really impressed with the way the 2 and the 22 are running today. This is a really good show for them. And the 18 is certainly in the hunt as well. Vince?
Yeah, the 18 of Kyle Busch, they started on the front row, but they just haven't been able to find the sweet spot so far today. Said the nose doesn't want to go anywhere. Just not happy with the handling of this car.
That was worse. Lost 1.5. Here, every time I turn off into the corner, anywhere, any lane, the nose doesn't go anywhere. It stays straight.
A little frustration out of Kyle Busch. You know, and we talk a lot throughout the whole weekend about you're searching for balance. You want those front tires to grip just as good as those rear tires. Right now, they're going to have to try and find some front grip for Kyle Busch.
Truex the leader, Logano second, and Kyle Busch 2.2 seconds back in third.
All right, so we just got done with our third stop of the day. My man Darrell out here cleaning up the pit stall. I think it's been a pretty solid day so far. Got to keep it up on the track, keep it up in pit road. Keep getting after it. Get your tickets, baby. Come on.
That's our new Fox Procast. Thanks to Richard Childress Racing for allowing the crew guys to play with that. That's Paul Swan, their jackman, who was a middle linebacker at Bowling Green State before going over the wall in NASCAR competition. His driver, Austin Dillon, currently 16th.
Yeah, Swan, if you got a problem, I don't care what it is. I got 2 hands. I can help. That was Billy Swan, by the way.
We knew you were going somewhere with that.
You needed to know that.
Chase Elliott up to 16th. Pretty good rebound from Friday when none of the Hendrick cars got to qualify. Elliott now 16th, Bowman 15th. William Byron is in the top 10, and Jimmie Johnson currently 7th.
Now, we've definitely seen Hendrick Motorsports make some improvement with speed this weekend. Seeing it right now in the race, certainly with Jimmie Johnson also moving forward. I think they've got their short run speed really good. It looks like Jimmy's car's really loose on the exit, so they're going to have to work on what they can do to make that car last over a longer run, as Denny Hamlin has just passed him a couple laps ago for 6th.
Currently 7th. This morning, in front of the Mariachi Band stage, Daniel Suarez was giving an interview in answering each question in English and in Spanish, and he had a huge crowd there, and they wanted to hear about what happened on Friday in practice.
Well, really loose is what happened.
I wrecked.
Went to a backup car. Jamie has an update.
And he was practicing qualifying in that first practice, and his heart was broken. The team told me he really reminds them of Matt Kenseth. He takes care of his equipment. In fact, that was the first backup car now that he's had to go to in a year. So this car, though, has been good this weekend. He said he's just really tight this run, but what a rebound for him. Started 30th, and he's up to 14th now, Mike.
I heard fans ask him, what hurts the most after a race? He says, my neck, every Monday morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a sore neck.
And just think, they got those huge headrests that they can lean on now.
Yep.
And even with that, I think we saw with the in-car cameras, we see the beating the driver takes in these cars. I think people think they're just riding around here like it's a Sunday drive, but the driver is getting abused a lot, particularly on this racetrack.
Now, if I had to guess what Suarez might have said to the crowd, ruin I think that's Spanish for wreck.
Oh.
Or crash. Or ruin the car.
Or ruin the car, yeah, that makes sense.
82 laps complete. Let's go back to 23rd place and check in on Bubba Wallace. Vince?
Well, certainly made big headlines when they finished second at the Daytona 500, but it's been of a struggle since for this 43 team. And Bubba Wallace right now, as you said, Mike, in that 23rd position. They just haven't had the grip that they've been looking for. Remember, still a work in progress. Just the 9th Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race for Bubba Wallace. Working with crew chief Drew Blickensderfer. A lot to learn for both crew chief and driver working together for the first time. And they're gaining on it, but it's going to take a while.
Yes, they are, Vince. And that relationship got tested last week. Bubba started singing in the car down the backstretch. They told him to knock it off. Well, here's Bubba's take.
I thought we had a pretty good race car last weekend. Make up my own little tune and have some fun with it. Obviously, the crew chief didn't like it too much because we lost a little bit of time.
We lost 2 pins trying to sing down the front stretch, so let's not do that the rest of the day. Whatever, trying to keep it lighthearted in here. 10-4.
Who knows if it was actually the singing that translated to that.
From what I heard from the crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, he's fine if he sings, but gain 2 tenths. Don't lose 2 tenths while you're doing it.
There you go. We're closing in on halfway of stage number 2. Does that mean pit stops are in the offing? And soon? Find out when we get back. 87 laps complete. Kyle Larson's in. Jamie.
Larson had said that he has a vibration from the time they put that set of tires on, and he had radioed to his crew about 2 laps ago. Guys, it's getting worse. I'm going to need to come. On the flip side, though, he said the car is handling much better now than it did earlier.
But remember last week at Phoenix, that 42 car, remember he was complaining about a vibration in the right rear, and we saw it, and he spun the car out. So I think he's a little gun shy today.
Joey Logano's in. Matt.
Kurt Busch 10th last week in the 41 car. He said the car loose on entry and needs help, especially on exit. Vince?
The 22 crew, Joey Logano, has been spot on today, and the car's been pretty good as well. But right now, just too loose on the throttle as he tries to drive off. That's where they need to improve it. The 14 of Clint Boyer in as well. 4 tires and an air pressure change, Matt.
While the 88 of Alex Bowman's service has already been completed on his Camaro, he said he just needs more help with front turn. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin's in. 2 stops ago, Denny Hamlin overshot his pit, lost 10 spots. They gained 5 back in the last time. He says it's just too tight on exit.
Leader Martin Truex headed for pit road, which is a busy place. About half the field is there right now as Truex splits the stage in half to make his pit stop under green. William Byron comes out, pulls out right next to him. Kyle Busch stayed on the racetrack and picks up the lead. There's our Fox rail cam on the outer pit wall following Truex all the way down to his stop. Vince.
Yeah, and having to dodge some traffic there as cars were exiting pit lane as Truex was trying to get into his box. Since an early air pressure change, they have really hit on it with this 78. No changes here, just 4 tires.
So that leaves Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray, and Ross Chastain out on the racetrack along with Ryan Blaney. Everybody else has made this stop, pretty much splitting the stage in half. I think McMurray might have been looking at pit road, but with cars inside him could not stop this time.
Well, and that's what happens here. There's such a difference in new tire speed versus old tire speed. They come up on you so fast that sometimes you can't even react. Oh, almost, I don't know if he got loose. Wow, William Byron was coming probably about 15 miles per hour with more speed than McMurray. I don't know if he got really loose in the center of the corner or if he just was planning to run that groove.
Jeff, it looked to me like he might have locked up the brake. The car started to slide and he aborted trying to come to pit road.
He definitely lost all of his momentum. He was going to do, I think he was going to pit. He lost his momentum. That's why they came on him. Bad enough he got old tires, then you lose your momentum, and they're about to run over him.
Jamie.
Exactly right. He wanted to pit, and he just couldn't, so the team waited an extra lap. He said he started off looser that run, a little tight in the center. They've been adjusting on it with wedge. They'll make that adjustment again. A 4-tire stop and air pressure, and 18 is on pit road as well.
Yeah, here comes the leader. Larry, how about Kyle Busch staying out longer than anybody?
I don't understand it. I mean, you think about it, that's 5 to 6 laps longer than Kyle Larson in the 42. I don't know what they're gaining by doing this unless they're just trying to catch that caution and trap a bunch of drivers a lap down.
A lot of times you just don't like for somebody to overrule you, do something that you want to do, Vince.
Well, and Kyle has not been happy with this car. In fact, he says it has just gotten progressively worse the entire race. Kyle's not been pleased at all. Just no front steer, no front tire feel, especially when he gets to the corner. So they're going to make a chassis adjustment with those 4 tire changes.
So we cycle through green flag pit stops. Martin Truex Jr., the leader. Kyle Larson in second. Joey Logano, then Kyle Busch. In fourth, Denny Hamlin fifth. 93 laps complete in Fontana, California in the Auto Club 400.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing Auto Club 400 is sponsored by Monster Energy, official sponsor of NASCAR.
97 laps complete. Martin Truex Jr. in the lead over Kyle Larson by 5 seconds. Joey Logano 5.5 back, and Kyle Busch staying out longer cost Kyle Busch, well, looks like about 3 seconds over where he was running behind Martin Truex at the start of this.
Well, let's take a look at those green flag stops, our Xfinity fastest pit stop, and you see right there Joey Logano 13.7, Chase Elliott at 9 13.8. And honestly, I've been watching the 22 crew for Joey Logano. They have been right there in the high 13s, low 14s all day long, and that means a lot when you're talking about green flag pit stops.
And you know, you were talking about the 18 staying out there a little bit longer than everybody else. Just remember, we think in terms of tires. They may be thinking in terms of gas mileage. They may be thinking about how do we get ourselves in a window to make it to the end when maybe no one else can. So there's a lot of factors that go into staying out. And the other part is you may not want someone dictating to you what you should do.
Yeah, and I would also agree with Larry that staying out those extra laps, if you're not going to go a lap down, there is a chance that you could catch a caution and get quite a few competitors a lap down. Look at this wild action down the back straightaway.
They just about got twisted up there.
Well, Keselowski 5th there, Hamlin 6th, as you watch from Ty Dillon's onboard camera.
So, Mike, one more thing. We have Bernie, and we rely a lot on him, and he's been pretty accurate. Those guys in the pits down there, they got a very similar situation that they rely on. Trends, things of that nature that they look at when they make calls.
That's right. They have computer models, too, that do a lot of predicting of what could, should, or would happen. We're halfway, 100 laps complete here in California. Time for just a quick word from Duracell.
This
we're going to focus on Kyle Larson, his crew chief Chad Johnson, and that 42 team. This is their 3rd season together. They've made the playoffs the last 2 years with a total of 5 wins, and they have won the last 4 races on 2-mile racetracks. And here's a Larry McNugget for you. Chad Johnson got his first career Cup win as a crew chief at Sonoma, California in 2013 at Michael Waltrip Racing with Martin Truex Jr. But just think about all the damage they've had to work on during these pit stops. I'd say right now, that's some Duracell driving trust.
Thanks. Here's the wreck Larry's talking about. Kevin Harvick comes down on Kyle Larson back at lap 22, and Harvick ends up hard in the wall and just misses the inside retaining wall. He has made repairs and continues, though he's now 7 laps down.
A lot of damage to that right front. I mean, that right front went hard into that wall and had to do a lot of suspension damage to that car.
And I was really looking forward to seeing him go for 4 in a row. They were really fast in practice, fast in this race, and I think their chances were pretty solid to be able to pull that off.
Ryan Blaney is a lap down. He had been into the wall, the outside wall earlier with a little bit of damage, but this looks like an unscheduled stop.
Now, so remember, the 42 of Larson thought he had a vibration or some issue with the tires. Came in earlier than Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano came in, I think, a lap later than the 42. And you can see what those newer tires can do for Kyle Busch as he goes by.
Jeff, just remember, there's always a common denominator. Last week, it was a right rear tire at Phoenix. Today, we saw him have a right rear tire problem in practice. Today, he had to make an unscheduled stop for a vibration. I got to think something in that right rear might not be working just right.
Yeah, whatever is in their setup might be abusing that right rear tire a little bit more than some of the others.
I believe so.
A lot of young drivers on track. They've been touring LA and looking at various areas of Tinseltown and even something different. How about Vince?
Well, you know, with his commitment to racing, 21-year-old Erik Jones missed the opportunity to go to college and missed that experience. So while on this odyssey of a NASCAR season, he's been making some campus visits. Here he went to UCLA with Jackson Gibbs. That's Joe Gibbs' grandson. He's a freshman at UCLA and a member of the football team. Gave Erik a tour of the campus, the football facility, some of the hot spots, some of which I'm sure we weren't able to see on that video. But it looked like they had a good time, and Erik's going to be visiting some college campuses around the country. So if you're out there, you're a NASCAR fan, you like Erik Jones, you want him to come to your school, reach out, say, hey, on social media, come see us, come hang, and he just might do it.
You know, he's a certified scuba diver. So he really, I think he likes the water a lot.
Well, we talk about athletes having great hand-eye coordination and reflexes, and you saw right there the skill that Erik Jones has. His hand speed is so incredibly quick. You can see how when that steering wheel goes back to the right, that's the car actually getting loose, and you got to catch it. But you never hear him come off the throttle. He continues to feed the throttle as he does that.
When we see that, we always call that nibbling. That thing is nibbling those front tires.
About 2:04 into the corner there. 14 laps to go in stage 2. Martin Truex out front by 7.5. We're going to go side by side for you. Trouble for Trevor Bayne and Paul Menard. Here's 2 laps ago, trying to go to the outside of Ryan Newman.
Yeah, makes a little contact with the right front. That will fold that fender in on the tire. I think that's exactly what happened. He blew a right front tire.
Pit road is open. Matt.
Mike, the previous run, Denny Hamlin, the 11 car, was too tight. The exit of turn 2. That same characteristic, he is battling again. Air pressure adjustment on the 11. Jamie.
Kyle Larson in the 42 was getting a lot better, but he said plowing tight there. You saw him make a wedge adjustment and air pressure adjustment already. No 4 tire stop, Vince.
And the 44 of Joey Logano still struggling on entry and exit, but their center turn is so good. That's what's keeping them competitive. That and a good pit crew. They have been spot on today.
Looks like Martin Truex wins the race off pit road. Joey Logano, Keselowski, Hamlin, and Jones move up a spot. Kyle Larson loses 4. Trevor Bayne into the wall. Paul Menard had hit the wall and was limping to pit road when the caution came out.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing Auto Club 400 is sponsored by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of NASCAR. And by Credit One Bank, you may already be pre-qualified. Visit us today. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. With Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers watching with you live at Auto Club Speedway here. Let's get a Monster Energy race break and a recap. A little bit of, this is one place where you don't mind traffic, right? In the LA area, the Inland Empire crowded, cars running from the grass to the wall. But here's the story. Kevin Harvick going for 4 in a row, the overwhelming favorite. Larson says no.
I think Larson was just holding his line. Kevin Harvick was frustrated about the way they were racing each other. Went down to voice his displeasure with his car, and they got together.
And on the radio, the 42 radio team calling it idiot racing that hard 30 laps into the race.
Slipping and sliding is what you're going to have all over this racetrack. We saw that there. Martin Truex Jr. wins the stage, but these guys are fighting for grip. Trevor Bayne on the outside of Ryan Newman runs out of room and into the wall.
And Martin Truex Jr., your leader, your pole sitter, he has led the most laps and is the only driver who has 2 drive for the cycles. He did that last year where he won every stage in the race, winning stage 1. As we saw, we're getting close to stage 2, and he's in good shape.
But there's guys that can run him down. Kyle Larson's been working on that car, and watch Brad Keselowski. I talked about him at the top. He's got a fast Ford.
That's your Monster Energy race break. Let's head back upstairs and rejoin Darrell, Jeff, and Mike.
It'll be 7 laps to go in stage 2. There is your running order on the pylon. On the left, the Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch lined up on the front row for the restart.
This could be a pretty good little shootout right here, a little heat race.
Be a predictor of what happens at lap 200.
And I think the 2 car, Brad Keselowski, has some really good short run speed. Denny Hamlin taking it 4 wide to the bottom.
Here you go. Now put that 2 right in the middle. Let's go 3 wide off turn 2.
Hamlin and Jones coming 4th and 5th. Erik Jones up to 4th.
Just not seeing Kyle Busch have some of that speed and aggressiveness we've typically seen him have on short little sprint runs like this.
Vince, what's up with the 18?
Well, you know, Jeff, you noted that you just haven't seen him with that initial speed at the beginning, and he just hasn't felt like he's had the stability. The car's just been too free for him. Hasn't found that spot throughout the course of the race. They just haven't felt good with it. Kyle missing the stability, say it's just getting too loose, and it continues to go the wrong direction. So he closes up on the back of Keselowski there, but just not been pleased with the overall performance of that 18 today.
Well, look at this fight for stage points. Back around 9th, 10th place.
Well, there's some good race cars back there in that little wide.
Kurt Busch, Boyer, Almirola. That's 3 teammates fighting William Byron for those last few points paying spots.
Yeah, we saw last year how important those stage points were for these drivers later in the season. I think they're feeling it now. They want to get up on the wheel, go get some of those stage points.
You know, Mike, that 24 car leading laps last week at Phoenix, he told me, he said, that really boosted my confidence. I felt like I could run with these guys. He's hanging in there pretty good
nice
right now.
There. Got a little loose down on the apron.
And the sophomore at Liberty University, he'll be back in class Tuesday.
He's surrounded by a bunch of hungry hounds right now, I can tell you that.
Now here's who got the points in stage 1. You see on the left, Truex getting that all-important.
What a move by Almirola. Right in the middle of the corner, goes underneath the 31. Oh, it doesn't quite clear Newman. Now he's stuck in the middle, 3 wide between Chase Elliott and Newman.
It had the makings of a good move.
I thought he had him cleared, but Newman had other thoughts.
Look at Chase all the way down below the white line on the apron.
But it's the car ahead of them, the 41 of Kurt Busch, who is in the last point-paying spot, coming up in 3 laps now.
And you got to give Bowman a shout out too, because he's starting to back, and he's right up in there hustling it as well. It's only running 14, but that's a great effort at this point in the race.
Going to try to get to the outside of the 31, just can't quite get the grip. He needs to stay in the throttle.
So here we go for that 10th place.
Pit road is closed.
Byron and Busch fighting it out.
Now here's what you want to do. Get to that left rear quarter panel and try to side draft, but not quite enough momentum for William Byron to be able to stay up beside Kurt Busch.
Yeah, the 41 came off high, had a lot of speed down the straightaway. I thought William was going to be able to get on that door and hang with him, but he cleared him. Kurt Busch cleared him.
This is looking very reminiscent of what we saw in that 78 last year.
You know what was funny to me? Everybody said, well, the real season starts at Atlanta. Then we got to Atlanta. No, the real season actually starts at Vegas. Then we got through Vegas. Well, the real season starts at Phoenix. And here we are today. Maybe the real season starts today.
Boy, that 10th place fight is still a good one. Byron's got it for now with a lap to go in stage 2.
If he can complete this pass, I am impressed with this young man. Look at him slide and hang in the back end out.
And here comes Almirola. He wants that last point.
I think that's only good for William Byron. If the 41 and the 10 get side by side, that gives him Byron a little breathing room.
All 4 tires next to the grass for the 10 car Almirola.
Martin Truex's spotter loves to call it. That's
Clayton.
Yeah, Clayton Hughes. Stage winner MTJ, and William Byron gets the last stage point of stage 2. Martin Truex Jr., only driver to win both stages and go on to win a race. He's done it twice.
Inductees into the Ford Hall of Fans. To learn more, go to NASCAR.com/Ford.
Martin Truex Jr. has won stages 1 and 2. Here's your Busch race summary. Other leaders: Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Jamie McMurray during the pit stop cycle. 28 cars on the lead lap. They'll be joined by Paul Menard, who gets the free pass. 4 cautions for a total of 15 laps. Kevin Harvick trying for 4 in a row. Now 6 laps down. Trevor Bayne out of the race after that crash in turn 3, leaving Harvick right now 36th and with a lot of damage from that lap 22 incident with Kyle Larson.
What do you say? Do you think he's going to have another shot at 4 in a row later in the season, as good as they are right now?
I don't know, Jeff. You know how hard that is to do. It's rare air. You know that. Doesn't happen every day. I think he's going to have another win or 2 in him, but I don't know about 4 in a row.
I predicted about 10.
I say 7.
Crew's getting ready for the end of stage 2 pit stops. Here they come, Matt.
Denny Hamlin, P4 car, much better, still needs help on exit of turn 2. Meanwhile, the deuce. Brad Keselowski, he's getting ready to peel off into his box. They're creeping back up on. He needs a little bit more turn earlier in the run, but they're also keeping in mind possibly short run speed for the end. We've had a few overtimes here in the past. Jamie?
Johnston, the crew chief for Kyle Larson, biggest concern with the inconsistency of the pit crew today. Cost him 4 spots on the last stop. Another adjustment. He's plowing tight in his 4 tires, Vince.
Near perfect on the track for the 78 of Martin Truex today. The one thing they want to do is make sure they don't have any blow-ups on pit lane. They've been solid there as well. Truex, 4 tires, no changes again this stop.
This time, though, Truex does not win the race off pit road. Kyle Busch picks up 2 spots, as does Joey Logano.
You know what, Mike? We've talked to Martin Truex a number of times last year and already today. I want to talk to Cole Pearn. Cole Pearn, this is DW, man. You got a copy here, buddy?
Yeah, I got you, DW.
Hey, buddy, you've won 2 stages. You're on the pole. You got the #1 pit stop. What have you done to that race car this weekend to make it go so fast?
We've been working on it for a while here, you know, just trying to get better every week, and, you know, felt decent about it this week. We had a good run here last year, so some good notes to go off of, but still got 80 laps to go here. We hopefully can make the most of it.
All right, pal. Just love your work, and good luck rest of the way.
Thank you.
Stage 3 coming. Martin Truex trying to seal the deal. He has won stages 1 and 2 in California today. Today.
There's one
All
thing
part of NASCAR Goes West, presented by Toyota. Boy, let's jump in the car and take a ride. That's Ty Dillon's car. something came loose there at the back window.
Yeah, I wonder if they're having an issue with the motor that runs the track bar up and down.
And if your windshield needs cleaning, you can just do it yourself.
A little ride-along program there.
Here they approach the Geico Restart zone. It'll be 74 laps to go. Truex on the inside. Kyle Busch elected the outside green flag.
All right, Kyle Busch, show us what you got.
Little drag race here. Woohoo! Fan out.
5, 6 wide.
Go where they're not. Whoa, man.
Who's that sneaking up the middle? Almirola.
And Logano to the outside of the
whoa,
78.
whoa, Jimmie Johnson. Yikes.
Slid way up the racetrack.
Man. Bump from the 12 of Blaney.
Boy, Jimmie Johnson, I don't know how he hung on to that, baby. It was gone. Here we go. Woo, woohoo.
Look at Truex blocking that outside lane of Logano.
2 Toyotas and 2 Fords at the front.
Boy, I tell you, this has been kind of the way it's shaken out here the last several runs. Those 2 Penske cars are really fast. Looks like
new around LA.
This is a rush hour I don't want to be a part of.
No, it looks like the 10 to me. The 10.
Yeah, out here they call it and then the freeway number. Back home,
15,
we
the
don't say the 77. We just swear about all of the widening that's going on.
It has other names.
Oh, yes, the parking lot usually.
I think this is a crucial moment in the race for Kyle Busch because he has that clean air out front. He knows that his car's not quite as good as the 78, but if he can hold Martin Truex Jr. behind him for a few more laps, build those tire pressures up, he might be able to maintain this lead.
I think Kyle Busch's aggravation and annoyance, it might just be again today because that 78 is pretty fast.
But it never stops his motivation.
Nope. He keeps trying.
Oh, issue at the 38.
Oh, David Reagan 2 laps ago got into the wall. May have a tire down here in turn 2. And
caution's out.
Yep, caution's out.
All the way down.
Oh yeah, debris coming from that tire.
I think it says 1,000 bulbs on the side of that car.
Correct. Is that tulip season or light bulbs?
I'm beginning to wonder. I think I'll
Reagan was
tiptoe down there and see.
The Georgia driver was 20th when he got into the wall there in turn 2.
Makes a little contact with that outside wall. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. These fenders, the way these engineers and aerodynamicists run the fender well so tight around those tires, it can come in on the tire, cut the tire.
All right, David Reagan makes it back into his pit. That is a website to buy light bulbs, by the way. And Jamie has an update.
Well, the 42, after that last round of stops, I said that he thought he had some lug nuts loose. So they tightened him on the right side, but there was still an issue on the left front. This came out. They took the wheel off. It's part of the shield that goes over the brake caliper. It was stuck, and Kyle knew there was something wrong, brought it in, and that shuffled him back to mid-pack, Mike.
So currently he is 18th.
Yeah, going to need a little bit of help with some potential cautions. He has a car that can certainly be fast enough to get up there and battle with those guys up front.
Guys, we've got 29 drivers on the lead lap. We ran almost 3 laps. I think the guys up front will stay out, but I think on back in the pack will come. Looks like to me Kyle Busch is going to drag the whole field down pit road after running just almost 3 laps.
Yes, he did. Matt.
My conversation back and forth between Paul Wolfe and Brad Keselowski. They're making gains on the 2 car. They want to shuffle the air pressures one more time to try to dial it in even more. Solid stop on the right side. Seminaire comes around. Good stop, Jamie.
And Jamie McMurray's been hovering around the 10th to 12th position, saying he's just really tight. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and a 4-tire stop, Vince.
Well, for the 18 of Kyle Busch, they've just been trying to find some security with this car. It's just been too loose throughout much of the day today. Been working on it constantly, trying to get it better. Crew Chief Adam Stevens continuing to tweak on it. Another strong stop by the 18 crew.
And they are out first, Vince, ahead of Joey Logano.
And the 78 lost quite a few spots.
And William Byron gambles with 2 tires and goes to the front. How about that?
Worked last week.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing Auto Club 400 is sponsored by Monster Energy, official sponsor of NASCAR.
The 2018 Toyota Camry XSE leads the field out at turn 4. They will restart with Casey Kane, the race leader, who did not stop under this caution, and William Byron, who went from 13th to the lead by taking only 2 tires. Here we go.
Tighten up those seatbelts, fellas.
Yeah. Logano shooting up through the middle to third. Kyle Busch to the inside on Byron.
Yeah, I think that position down low onto the apron is going to be the preferred line for Kyle Busch.
Yes, if you have 4 fresh tires, you can do that.
Yeah, 2 tires were questionable, 4 tires were out of the question.
Wow, what a run by the 2 of Keselowski. He saw the 22 of Logano sliding up the racetrack, but he had the momentum.
But you got to love the spirit of that 24 bunch. I mean, he's hanging right there with Kyle Busch. Those 2 tires aren't terrible.
No, and he impressed me last week when they took 2 tires in Phoenix, how well he held on. A little bit different situation here. 4 tires mean a lot here.
But I love what he told me, Jeff. He said that really gave me a lot of confidence because I realized I can get up, I can hang with these guys, and he's hanging with them.
Remember, all 4 Hendrick cars and a lot of others started in the back today because they did not get through inspection and make a qualifying lap. And here's where those cars that started out back are running now.
Boy, we almost saw some contact between Truex and Logano down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Logano got a nice draft off the 24, and he shot to the inside of him, and that almost put him into the back of the 78. Oh. Tight off turn 2.
Yeah, Truex had to back out of the throttle.
.66 laps to go to the checkered flag. Larry, how do you see this playing out if we get the long green flag run that we kind of expect here?
Yeah, Mike, I think they'll split it right down the middle, just like we've been seeing the whole time. I think somewhere around 30 to 35 to go, that's when they'll make a green flag stop, should we stay. But the biggest thing, Mike, if we start getting these cautions, is these guys only have 3 sets of Goodyear tires still laying in the pit. So if we get a break out of cautions, we could be cutting it close on sets of tires.
Okay. William Byron on 2 tires, restarted second, now 6th. Casey Kane on old tires has slid to 20th. Beautiful Sunday in Southern California. Turn up the stereo.
Crank it up. Woo-hoo.
If the track bar's so high, my exit's just really bad. I'm all the way up to 9-1.
Just stayed inside. Just there, nothing drag it back, still down there.
All clear all the way. Outside, just one time. Quarter. Bumper clear, back of hunt. With the run here, still one back now, closing the half, big gap behind. Pace.
Good run. 2 back. 1 back.
14 has caught the 11. They're right with you.
Three back at the wall, the 14.
11 on the flat
to the 41. Still there. Still there. Still 3 back to the 14 up top.
Still there, quarter.
Clear by 2.
14's working to your inside, at your
clear,
bumper.
Clear.
Inside 14, down on the flat. All clear, you got it. Nice work, man. P8. Good exits right here.
58 laps to go. Kyle Busch now pulling away from Brad Keselowski a little bit. 0.9 of a second is the difference. But the story's been Kyle Larson. He restarted 21st. He's climbed to 5th. The master of the 2 miles, our last 4 races on tracks of this distance. Kyle Larson has shut everyone else out of victory lane. Jamie?
And Kyle Larson, they got their issues figured out with that extra pit stop, and they were also able to free him up, Mike, so he said he is definitely better this run, and it's showing.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you have to make an extra stop or have some issues on pit road. Gives you that opportunity to say, okay, we've lost track position. Now let's go to work on the car and try to fix some of the issues. And you take that extra time. And in this case, on a big, wide racetrack like this, that can pay off huge.
They know they got a driver that'll get the job done if they give him the car he needs.
56 laps to go. Crumpled sheet metal in California. Kyle Busch is your leader. Welcome back to Southern California. 53 laps to go. Time for our Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Well, I'm watching the guy that's won the last 4 2-mile racetracks, and that's Kyle Larson. He's moving up on Joey Logano for 4th position. He hasn't led a lap today, but there's only one that really counts, that last one.
Jeff, Clint Boyer must love racetracks that has no grip. He finished 3rd at Atlanta a few weeks ago. He finished 3rd here a year ago. He may not end that 189 race winless streak, but he's headed for a top 10 today.
You know, I don't want to make this so obvious, but my guy won the pole. He won the first 2 stages, and he's running 2nd, but he won't be running 2nd when it's over with. 78.
How about that? My guy's going to sneak up on everybody, y'all. He led 1 lap here in 2015. Jeff said the most important lap is the last one. That's the one Brad Keselowski led then. He's going to do it again today, sneak up on him, and steal the victory.
I'm tired of hearing how tired Kyle Busch is of being 2nd. 3 second-place finishes since his last win. He started 2nd today. He's not going to finish 2nd. Those are our Credit One Bank ones to watch. With 51 laps to go, Kyle Busch leading Martin Truex by 1.9 seconds, a gap that is increasing.
Yeah, it was about a 10th faster that last lap. It just goes to show you, when you have clean air and control of the start or the restart there, it can change the balance of your car. It can change how the air pressure builds in those tires, and we might see him be able to fine-tune that 18 car to keep it out front the rest of the way.
I think the other thing too, Mike, when you have a car as dominant as that 78 was in those first 2 stages, you're afraid to do very much to it. You might want to tweak it a little bit while everybody else is working to get as good or better than you are, and that's what Kyle Busch and that team has done a little bit better.
Erik Jones been top 10 all day, 6th right now. But have we kind of downplayed the benefit of being out front and being in clean air? How much of an advantage is that here?
Well, it's huge, Mike. I tell you why. Watch the speedometer down into turn 1 down here that's on the outside of the racetrack. He's consistently 205, 205 miles an hour into turn 1. Everybody else about 202, 203. Little speed right there.
Jimmie Johnson, 9th place after not getting to qualify. Nice rebound there. Kurt Busch rounds out the top 10. And Paul Menard got the free car in the wall, turn 2. I think that's Matt DiBenedetto sliding down off the wall and down to the apron on the back straightaway.
No caution yet.
Race control looking over video and seeing if there's debris. Apparently not, as we stay green. Here's what happened to Matt.
He's already in the wall.
Riding it pretty good right there.
He was in 30th position.
If he can get back around without the tire coming apart and shredding parts everywhere, he might be all right.
And a lot of credit to Matt and this team. They've been putting up some pretty good numbers the last few weeks.
And he makes it to pit road without incident, and we stay green. So Martin Truex trying to close that gap, Vince.
Well, he is, and one of the issues is as he has tried to close that gap, he's run off the front tires. He said, I just don't have it in the front tires. I hurt them too much early on in the run, so it doesn't feel like he's got the tires for to chase down Kyle Busch. And it's about that clean air. Kyle has been complaining about his car throughout the day. Hasn't complained about it at all since he's been out front. Matt?
Vince, a great save by Jimmie Johnson earlier on that restart. The car's been more on the free side much of the day. And here's recent conversation between driver and crew chief.
Keep it up, bud. You all right? Yeah, that's all I got. You got more than that. Come on. That was a better lap roll. Did you do something different?
Bottom. Nope. Same thing.
Well, you got to let, I mean, we've talked about communication between crew chief and driver and spotter, and we've heard Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson go at it at times, and I'm liking what I'm hearing out of them. They're not panicking. They're working really well together, and I think encouraging one another instead of maybe some of the negative things we've heard in the past.
Now compare that to Kyle Busch's voice early in the race when he hated his car.
Yeah.
When a driver hates his car and starts screaming about it that bad, to me that means one of two things. Either the car is really a load and it's awful, or I think I should be in a position to win, and why am I not? Well, now he is.
Well, and that's what we've heard consistently out of Kyle Busch. As you mentioned, he doesn't like to finish anywhere other than first. And so his voice might get heightened and he might get excited on the radio, but it's just because he has those kinds of expectations.
The only time he's happy is when he's standing down there in the victory circle with a trophy and a flag.
Understand. Well, let's take a look at how the Coca-Cola family of drivers are faring. Kyle Larson, Joey Logano top 5, Denny Hamlin top 10. Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez on the lead lap, as is Ryan Newman and Darrell Wallace Jr.
And you know, you talked about Chad and Jimmie, and I tell you, I've talked to Chad a lot, and every time I talk to him, I said, are you worried? Is everything all right? He says, look at me, smiling. I'm not worried.
Okay. Kevin Harvick 6 laps down after a crash back at lap 22 with Kyle Larson. We'll take you side by side. That's awful.
Pitiful.
.41 laps to go. The battle for the lead is enjoined Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. The pit window open for William Byron, but remember, he only got 2 tires on his last stop. Truex keeps nibbling away at the bottom, trying to wrest the lead from Kyle Busch.
18's better in 1 and 2 down there. You got that high line, but in 3 and 4, where Truex can get to that apron on the bottom, he's a little better in 3 and 4. It kind of backs him forth.
And also, we saw Kyle Busch almost lose the back end off of turn 2 a few laps ago. Lost 6/10 just in 1 lap. And ever since then, Martin Truex Jr. has been pouncing.
So now Jimmie Johnson's on pit road. So is Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, Almirola, Dillon, McMurray, and more. But for the lead, neither one is willing to give.
There, clears him. Was able to side draft the left rear quarter panel and drag that 18 car back and clear Kyle Busch as he gets into turn 1.
Daniel Suarez too fast entering. Now, if they stay out a couple of more laps, that may provide an opportunity for some of these drivers pitting early.
Let's see, if I'm the 18, Larry, I'd love to hear.
Ooh. That was so, I'm sorry.
If I'm the 18, I want to come before
now.
the 78 car. I want to get a lap on him, for sure follow him down pit road.
First 5 drivers have not stopped. Truex, Busch, Keselowski, Larson, and Hamlin. Neither is Cole, Witter, Ross, Chastain. Everybody else has made that stop now.
Yeah, I'm with Larry. I think if I can get in a lap before the 78, make some adjustments, get that clean air again, I might have a shot.
I guess the only reason not to stop is you don't want to run maybe 37 laps on this next set of tires.
If he runs a lap further than the 78, he will not win this race.
What if they all come in together?
And you know what? That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to follow him down pit road right there. He had to do that.
I think he heard you, Larry.
And maybe this will put a little pressure on these pit crews. It might be a race off of pit road.
Yeah.
Now, last time a 78 stop wasn't stellar, so we'll see what they do this time.
Well, this could be the race right here because Truex, Kyle Busch, Keselowski, and Larson are all on pit road right now. Jamie?
Kyle Larson, they made that car so much better that time. They freed him up. He was able to run the top of 1 and 2, bottom of 3 and 4, 4 tires. Vince?
Well, the 18 and the 78 are pitted in the boxes adjacent to one another. The 18 has been a little slower, or the 78's been a little slower on pit road, but faster on the track. We'll see who gets out first this time. Good stop from both sides.
Great launch on the 18 to get by Martin Truex Jr.
And about 2 seconds behind them come Larson and Keselowski.
Mike, those are identical pit stops, but that 18, man, did he shoot out of that box.
Darrell, Truex has had problems getting out of his box, spinning the tires. In fact, before this stop, they went out there and put like some Coca-Cola syrup to try to create some traction.
Yeah, almost identical pit stops. I'd say they're right on top of each other, but as you saw, that 18, he shot. He took off. Looked like a drag car.
36 laps to go. All right, driver, you got what you got.
Yeah, now it's about managing the aerodynamics as well as the tire.
Denny Hamlin will be the last to pit here at lap 165, 2 laps after Kyle Busch and Martin Truex.
And when I say aerodynamics, it's he has the clean air. He's got Truex behind him. Keep that dirty air on the front end and the whole car, the 78. That might be your only chance of keeping him behind you.
These two cars are so, their pit stops are pretty much identical. They're pretty close to each other lap time on the racetrack. This is going to be a dogfight. It's amazing to me. 18 is so much better in 1 and 2. Nice high line. Get down to 3 and 4. Truex goes to the bottom. 18 goes to the top. 78 comes out a little bit better there. So backers in 4th.
Now Hamlin gets in and out with an incident-free stop, but he's going to be half a lap or more behind the leaders when he gets back up to speed. Pretty good day for Toyota. Here are their top performers. for this afternoon. Kyle Busch leading, Martin Truex in second, Erik Jones in sixth, Denny Hamlin just exiting the pits. Three Toyotas, 5 Fords, and 2 Chevrolets in the top 10. Well, these two came out of the pits together and have stayed right together ever since. Larson and Keselowski not quite 3 seconds behind the 2 leading Toyotas.
Yeah, we've heard the 42 car, Larson. He's complained about his car a lot. Hadn't heard much out of the 2 at all. I think he's probably pretty happy with his car. If he's got the speed or not, that's the question.
I'm very impressed with Brad Keselowski's performance all weekend long. They have really had to work on that 2 car to get the performance to where it is now. He was saying earlier he likes his car. It's got good balance. Might be lacking a little speed to those Toyotas up front, but putting together a great race.
Yeah, Keselowski, he's the first of the Blue Ovals. He's running 4th, and his teammate Logano running 5th. So the 2 Penske cars pretty competitive today.
In traffic, here comes Martin to the bottom.
Yeah, and I just wonder if the 34, Michael McDowell, may have held up the 18 of Kyle Busch just enough. Kyle's going to fight back on the outside. Runs that lower groove. That's going to work.
It's going to come out side by side here. That when you come off on the bottom, you need the whole racetrack to be able to go all the way up to the wall. When there's somebody there in your way, it just breaks a little bit of your speed.
For how long, I think, is the question. How long can you keep Martin Truex Jr. behind you? Look how Martin runs an even lower line. Get that clean air. Gains a little momentum. Right here at 18. This is the same spot. He almost lost it the last time.
Boy, it doesn't take much. Just that bobble. Just that little wee bit.
Vince.
Well, in the 18 of Kyle Busch, they had a quick pit stop. You guys noted getting out ahead of the 78. But when they made a chassis adjustment during that stop, they went the wrong direction. So they've had to tell Kyle to adjust the track bar in his car to help with the change because they went the wrong way on the wedge adjustment.
I just don't believe I'd want to be the guy that told Kyle Busch we went the wrong way. I don't think I'd want to be that guy.
I don't know if I'd want to tell him at all.
I might just let that one go.
Martin Truex Jr. back to the lead. We're going to go side by side with 31 laps to go. In pre-race, the Monster Freestyle Motocross team pulled out their biggest stunts to get fans excited about all the action this weekend at Auto Club Speedway. And they drew a big crowd prior to pre-race here. 27 to go. Martin Truex Jr. took the lead after a bobble by Kyle Busch, which may have been brought on by making the wrong adjustment on pit road. Let's have a look at the pit stop.
Yeah, Mike, what they meant to do, you see the wrench right there. They meant to go down right there, but you're going to see he went out, and that actually freed the car up instead of tightening it up. That's taking wedge out. Now let's go to our Ford Performance car, and we can show you what Adam Stevens told Kyle Busch he has to do. The driver adjustable track bar, he has a switch right there. He can raise the track bar on the right side or lower it. So here it is. That's the little electric motor that raises and lowers that track bar on the right side. And what he's going to have to do, that's raising it, but he has to lower that track bar to counter that wedge adjustment that was the wrong direction.
And Larry, you know this, and Jeff, you do too. A little bit of wedge will tighten the car up everywhere. But when you got to start moving that track bar up and down, that's kind of almost single purpose. It'll make it a little bit better in, or it make it a little bit better off, but it very seldom does everything you want it to.
Kyle Larson is closing. He's about half a second faster than Kyle Busch right now. What a rebound for Larson.
He's dirt tracking it, rim riding.
That boy's had an exciting day, I must say.
Jamie.
It has been an up and down day for Kyle Larson, and actually he's telling his team right now he is plowing tight. Chad Johnson, his crew chief, said we didn't adjust anything on the last stop, thinking we're staying with the track, but Kyle not liking his car.
Yeah, when a driver talks about being plowing tight, and you know this, DW, it's more than just the front giving up a little bit of grip. You're going in the corner and you can't slow down enough to get those front tires to grip.
Yeah, when it's plowing tight, you hit the wall with the front tire, with the front end. When it's loose, you hit the wall with the back end.
What I love, though, he's plowing tight, and I just saw the back end slide out as he was up near the wall.
Probably so, but that's when you get that push loose. You know, you got a lot of wheel in it, and starts to push, and the back snaps.
So we're here about 2002, and Darrell uses the phrase pushing like a dump truck to describe the same thing. Doesn't Artie get a shot of a big dump truck with chrome wheels going through the infield? And that's what it looks like.
I'm sure there's a plow out there somewhere, too.
Put chrome wheels on, I'm happy.
7th place, Jimmie Johnson, Denny Hamlin. They both started out back, not having qualified for this race, as did Clint Boyer, who is 9th. And Ryan Blaney, who's been up against the wall, on the way back up, and Vince into the top 10.
Yeah, how about that run from Blaney, and give credit to not just Blaney behind the wheel, but crew chief Jeremy Bullins and that entire 12 team. He was into the wall in the first 50 laps of the race. He came back down, pulled out the right side, did a little bit of repair, and he has been on a rail for most of the way since then and has raced his way back inside, as you noted, Mike, to the top 10. Nicely done by Blaney and company today.
10th place and holding pace with the leaders.
Mike, we got 22 laps to go. I think, Larry, help me out here, buddy. What's the trend for a overtime finish here, or a late caution?
Well, the average of the last caution, that's why I've not done it, DW. We got a ways to go. Normally at lap 198 with 2 laps to go, and you talked about it in the pre-race earlier today, our last 4 races here, every one of them overtime.
The final green flag stretch here in each of the last 8 races has been less than 10 laps. So get ready for a shootout, boys.
Yeah, well, my name ain't Bernie, but I can figure that one out. I'm just saying.
Boy, Kyle Busch must be just going crazy inside there right now. And you could actually see that pit crew member hesitate. He started to turn the wrench the right way and then went the other way. And we already saw the car. The 18 car was a little bit loose off of turn 2. I think he's really struggling with it now.
You don't think he was doing that righty-tighty, lefty thing to himself?
Well, hey, to credit to those pit crew guys, they got a lot going on pit road this year. They're carrying tires. They're jacking the car, changing the tire, trying to put wedge or take wedge out.
Yep, got to multitask. They're on a crew now.
Vince?
Well, and guys, you know, we've told you throughout the course of the day, the thing that Kyle has fought has been loose. So with the way they adjusted that wedge, that just made it even more loose. So as you guys noted, really making it a handful for Kyle Busch. And it's a shame, too, because the 18 crew guys have really had a strong day today, but a big mistake at a bad time.
Boy, Larson did such a great job clipping that apron. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, yeah. Crossover.
Whoa, close. A bit too close there.
Now it's just, oh yeah, the 18 just wasn't quite clear. This is definitely going to give the 42 the advantage. Boy, that was such a perfectly executed 3 and 4. The way the 42 of Larson clipped that apron and got the car rotated, cut off a lot of racetrack to get ahead of the 18.
They did not touch, but it was close. Here's a look.
Now, see, that was almost the exact opposite situation what we saw with Harvick and Larson earlier, where Larson wanted to sort of block that run that was coming from the 18, see if he couldn't slow his momentum down.
And now Kyle Busch has had a little trouble getting past Ryan Newman there and Kevin Harvick, losing further ground to Kyle Larson. Here's the 18 radio.
Don't you have your hands full in there, bud? Sorry. Yeah, I hear you. I don't even know what the hell we're doing or what the hell's going on or what we're going to do next because it's been the same all day. We haven't made any ground on it.
Well, the positive thing is on that adjustment going the wrong way, it doesn't seem like it's made it any worse than it was.
Well, Kevin Harvick came in here as the prohibitive favorite to win 4 in a row, and on lap 22 came off the corner, came down on Kyle Larson. They got together and Harvick ended up in the wall. They have worked all day on that car. He just made another pit stop, which took him from 6 to 9 laps down, but they are going to finish this out. Here's a look at what happened back at lap 22.
Yeah, I think when Kevin sees this, he'll ask himself, not sure what I was doing there.
Yeah, and they had been battling lap after lap. And I really think Kevin Harvick felt like his stiffest competition today was going to be Kyle Larson, and he really did not want Larson to get that position on him. And I just wonder if he could have given up that position, if he would have, you know, obviously that wouldn't have happened, but I think he still had a good enough race car. He'd be right in this thing right now.
Well, he's been fun to watch for these 4 weeks. In 2017, Martin Truex was the only driver to win both stages and the race. When I gave that stat earlier, I left out the in 2017. I think Harvick did it this year at Vegas. Won both stages and the race. But in the last 5 races here, the final lead change has happened in the last 6 laps, including 3 times on the very last lap.
We're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting close.
That, of course, due to cautions.
Yeah, we know you're going to have to come in, get 4 tires, and it's going to be a shootout if that caution does come out.
Well, I think we saw yesterday, I think Joey Logano came in, got tires when nobody else did. He restarted like maybe 18th or 20th, and in 3 laps, he was leading the race.
Yep. Joey Logano 5th, 13 seconds back. And he's a little quicker than Brad Keselowski in front of him in 4th. And Bernie expected great things from Austin Dillon today. Pegged him for a top 5. Dillon currently 11th, 32 seconds back. And currently his lap time is about a second behind Martin Truex. And Alex Bowman, who had an engine change after practice, he came in on his last lap of practice and said something did not feel right. They discovered a valve spring issue, changed the engine. He started last. He is in the top dozen. Kurt Busch with our Fox Visor Cam, 13th right now.
You know, Mike, this for the leader of the race, this is the most tense part of the race. You're coming down here, the race is drawing to an end, and they know what we know. They know this race has been decided in the last 6 laps a number of times. They know we've gone into overtime a number of times here. Nervous times for the leader.
Vince?
Well, and guys, Cole Pern came on the radio and told Martin Truex, if we go to the end under green, this will be the longest green flag run of the day. So beware of that in regards to how you can take care of your tires. Jamie?
And Chase Elliott in the 9 started 31st today, and he worked his way up to the top 10, and it didn't take him very long to do it. But for most of this race, he said his car has just felt like it's on edge, and he can't figure it out. They've made adjustments, they've made pit stops with no adjustments, and it hasn't seemed to make a difference right now. Chase Elliott, who already has 2 top 10s this year, back in 16.
First car 1 lap down is Elliott. His teammate William Byron is the last car on the lead lap. Remember, he got up to the front row on the restart with a 2-tire change, but then had to come in earlier for his green flag stop. 12 laps to go. Only 1 car out of the race. Trevor Bayne hit the wall at lap 109 and went to the garage.
Mike William Byron's crew chief, Darian Grubb. You folks may remember Darian Grubb. He was Tony Stewart's crew chief when Tony won the championship a few years ago. So very experienced, very smart guy. This little team's getting a little bit better every week.
Here's the 8th place race. Jimmie Johnson, Ryan Blaney.
Really impressive, Ryan Blaney. He saved the car, really. I mean, he almost had it in the wall earlier today. Had some damage, got a lap down. You know, the Penske team, they really struggled in Phoenix. We talked about it in our pre-race, about a bit of a hangover from that race, but they're definitely rebounding today.
Yeah, they got 3 cars in the top 10, the Penske cars, the Fords. That's pretty good showing for those guys.
4th, 5th, and 8th. Chris Buescher had a lot of smoke coming down pit road. Not sure if he locked a breakup coming in or something more dire with 10 laps to go.
Lockup.
Trying to put Kurt Busch, the 14th place car, 1 lap down, Matt.
Mike, his balance has been all over the map. So is his track bar adjuster. They believe it's broken. He's been running it up and down. It has not helped the race car. If we get one of those overtime type endings like Larry Mack documented earlier, and they pit, they're going to have to make the adjustment manually with the wrench. Right now, he's just holding on.
I've just always found, and Jeff, you may know better than I, or Larry may know better than I, but always found a track bar, it would help you in one spot. If you were loose in, you can lower that track bar, and it might help that situation. If you were tied off, you might raise it up a little bit, it might help that situation. But it didn't fix everything.
Well, and also these days, the track bar, it affects the aerodynamics of the car, the way it can move, shift the body on the chassis, and you want to use that to your advantage for some side force or down force, not take away from it.
Now here Martin Truex is going to get in the middle of this battle for 12th place between Alex Bowman and Eric Almirola. They're the last cars on the lead lap.
Boy, that's so tight right there.
3 wide middle. Clear bottom, clear top, clear all around, clear all around.
That was 2 good race cars. I mean, you're talking about to the 88 and the 10. 2 good race cars, he just drove between them.
The last thing you want to hear from your spotter, if you're Cole Pern, is 3 wide middle with 8 laps to go,
right.
And you're leading.
I like Clayton, though. He doesn't get excited.
Nope.
Clayton is dead.
And kudos to these 2 fellows, because they're in the midst of a pitched battle for position, and yet the seas parted, got out of the way, let Martin Truex on through.
And trying to stay on the lead lap. You know, if that caution were to come out, that would be a huge benefit to them by staying on the lead lap. So they have to fight for that position.
Yeah, only one of them is going to be the first car 1 lap down.
And Mike, again, just think, this is the longest green flag run we've had to the end of this race. So we don't know what might happen in these last 3 or 4 laps.
Well, Kyle Larson's lap times are pretty much mirroring Martin Truex's. The only car I see that's much quicker is Denny Hamlin back in 6th. Kyle Busch has slid back to 8.5 back of the lead, but he is gaining a little bit on Larson right now.
Yeah, I've seen Larson's moving all over the racetrack trying to find some speed. I think he used up a lot of those tires trying to pass the 18, run down the 18 and then pass the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Larson's not been happy with that car all day. They worked on it, adjusted on it.
And he's stuck in traffic. That could be money for Kyle Busch. If Larson has trouble, now he gets clear of Stenhouse and Jamie McMurray.
22 car, Joey Logano had a really good day. His teammate up there, Keselowski, both those cars, they're running 4th and 5th. Nice run for both those guys.
As you said, nice rebound for Phoenix. Joey was missing a tooth in that poster. Maybe he'll find it today. 5 laps to go. Everybody holding their breath that we don't go to overtime as we have the last 4 races here.
I know I'm holding my breath. I'm thinking the same thing. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at both, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Everything good?
Well, last year, Martin Truex lost this race on strategy. He was one of 3 cars that stayed out on the caution with 7 to go and finished 4th.
We get a caution late in the race this race and somebody stays out, I'm going to go down there and knock them off the pit box.
We'll send Artie down there. He can be the car chief. Wait, say, you see anything?
Well, yeah, I'm sure every one of these drivers right now are feeling a lot of vibrations and things going on inside the engine, inside those tires.
What I see is 4192. Martin Truex is in his own zip code.
Oh yeah.
As we come to the conclusion here.
And just think that's on cruise. I don't think he's driving as hard as he could if he had to. Just trying to get her home.
Look how much speed he carries through the center and off the exit of turn 2.
When you just drive by, I don't care what car it is. When you just drive by them, I mean, it just went by Boyer. Like Boyer was going the other way.
And Boyer's in 11th.
That car is so good on the long runs.
Remember that Coke 600 a few years ago when Martin stopped the field?
Oh my gosh, I never saw a dominance like that.
You are today.
And
he's led about the whole race.
But I just can't help but wonder what would have happened if that incident between Harvick and Larson had not happened.
I just don't think anybody had, the way this 78 is run in this race, they just didn't have anything for him today.
Maybe not, but if anybody did.
Teammates fight for 4th place.
It's one of those laps I'd like to ride with him.
Wait a minute. I've seen you ride with some drivers over the years. It didn't go so well.
No, you're exactly. What am I thinking? Lost my mind again. But that car sure has looked mighty good all day long.
Martin Truex has lapped all but the next 9 cars. Going to be a great battle for 4th at the finish. Denny Hamlin comes in to spoil the Penske party. And off turn 4, the headlines will read, Jersey boy goes California dreaming. Martin Truex Jr. wins the Auto Club 400.
Oh yeah, man. Awesome job all day. Way to...
Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch. And for 4th, Brad Keselowski beats teammate Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin. Sometime later today, Erik Jones will finish 7th, Ryan Blaney 8th, Jimmie Johnson 9th, Austin Dillon 10th, and that's all the cars on the lead lap today as Martin Truex Jr. put on a show.
That was a long green flag run.
There's Barney Visser, his car owner. Barney's here this week. Good to see him. Feeling good.
This is the first time he's seen that car go to Victor Lane in person in a long time.
And man, I mean, Barney has given so much to this sport, invested so much in this sport. It's so good to see him have success.
Had some health issues late last year. Couldn't go to the final races. Couldn't see Martin win the championship at Homestead or go to the banquet. But They're in celebration mode today.
Hell yeah, don't need this motor again. Don't need it. We don't need it. Horizon.
Martin Truex Jr. taking home the checkered flag. Is today's Sunoco fueling victory.
Good thing he's not going to need that.
The worst thing you can tell the driver, we don't need that motor again.
But with NASCAR's new sealed engine rules, some of these engines they have to use on another weekend. But this engine has gone to the end of its life cycle. If not at the checkered flag, probably right now.
No, it's going to the junkyard now.
Wow, he's sat in his own smoke show there.
Look at all that rubber around behind the car back there from the tires. Golly. Give me that flag. Capture that flag.
TRD does their engines. They're down in Costa Mesa. Toyota's longtime headquarters was here in Orange County. So a big win for Martin Truex Jr., Barney Visser, and Toyota.
You know, you come off winning the race in the championship, the final race of 2017 at Homestead. Then you come into 2018, you go, well, are we going to have that magic back again this year? And I've questioned it the last few weeks. I'm not questioning it anymore. Neither is this 78 team.
Yeah, I think they didn't have that winning form, but they had pretty good form.
Well, we came into the day with Kevin Harvick, the prohibitive favorite, to go 4 in a row, and it all came undone on lap 22. Here's Matt with Kevin Harvick.
Well, Mike, Kevin Harvick lived it off turn 2, had about 340 miles to think about it. And Kevin, you've climbed from the car. Looking at what took place between yourself and the 42 of Larson, was it a side drafting issue? Temper get involved? What happened there?
I went down to side draft, and he was coming up, and we touched, and it just knocked the thing to the right and just spun out. I mean, I don't know that that's his fault. I think that's my fault for, you know, coming down the racetrack right there and trying to side draft, and then as we touched right there, it just came back up the racetrack. So, just trying to get a little too much right there. I knew the stage was coming in. Just got to thank all my guys. They did a great job on our Busch Beer Ford, and just my fault back there.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Vince?
Well, and the other party involved in that incident and that contact was Kyle Larson, who ended up bringing it home second, but certainly that's the big question. You heard Kevin say he took the blame for it, but how surprised were you that the two of you made contact in that situation?
Well, we were racing really hard. I was better than him in 3 and 4. He was better than me in 1 and 2. And I'd side draft him down the front stretch. He'd side draft me down the back stretch. And I don't know if he was just coming down to side draft me or what, but we made contact, and it spun his car to the right. So you never want to make contact with anybody. But, you know, all in all, it was a good day for our DC Solar Chevy team. We had a lot of weird issues, you know, vibrations and stuff that, you know, different stuff that happened where we had to, you know, restart the back and drive back forward. It seemed like we could always get to kind of 3rd or 4th and kind of stall out there. But still, you know, a really good day. 78 was really good. I think the 4 was probably, he didn't get to race a whole lot, but he's probably the best car again. So we're right there. We just got to continue to work hard. But, you know, hats off to everybody at our race shop. They've done a good job with our new Camaros of getting us up to speed quickly. So having fun. We'd like to be one spot better, though.
Kyle Larson, runner-up, Mike.
Thanks, Vince. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, superior performing tires to face challenging conditions on the track and on the road. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Climbing out after his 16th career win in Goodyear Victory Lane, here's Jamie.
Woo! The smoke and the confetti, the Gatorade. He gets his first stage wins of the year, your first win. How were you able to hold off the 18? You guys had such an intense battle for most of this race.
Just fighting hard, you know, and just quit, never gave up on it. You know, I knew we had a really good race car after honestly the first adjustment of the race, I think, came alive, and you know, from there it was just about managing my tires and being smart. You know, we had a little trouble getting beat out of the pits, and that was tough. And then, you know, one run we fell back to 5th and had to work our way back up. And I really just
had to take care of my front tires, and once we get some clean air, man, this thing was unbelievable. So just got to thank Cole and Barney and everybody at, you know, back in Denver. I was out of TRD this week. They gave me this hat. It must be good luck. Thank you guys for great engines. Obviously, this was a good one today. And Bass Pro, 5-hour, you know, Toyota TRD again, auto owners, Furniture Row Denver Mattress, Tracker, everybody just, everybody that makes this possible, man. This is a dream come true. And people kept asking, when are you going to win again? When are you going to, we haven't won any stages. Well, here you go.
Martin, you mentioned it, a little bit of trouble on pit road today. Just about every stop you would come out worse than you win in. How do you keep your cool as a driver, and how important is it to see the end result?
That's all you think about right there. It's just what you can do to win a race. And, you know, when you have those things happen, there's nothing you can do about them at the time but dig deep and try to find a way. And, you know, for us today, we had a good enough car we were able to make it happen. So, yeah, I don't know even what to say. I inhaled a lot of Goodyear there, but Goodyear tires were awesome today. Thanks for that. And thanks to the fans and Monster and everybody that supports the series. This is it's unbelievable to be able to do this for a living.
Defending series champion Martin Truex Jr. gets the first win for Toyota in California.
Took him 18 years to get to victory lane in Fontana. Truex becomes the first driver to ever win after winning the pole and sweeping every stage. We'll be right back.
Martin Truex Jr., only driver to lead laps in every race this season, and he finally gets the W here at the Auto Club Speedway as NASCAR goes west, closing out their 3, and his owner, Barney Visser. Even though Harvick wins the West, it's Truex at a Toyota winning today, and Jamie Little is with the winning crew chief.
And it's crew chief Cole Pern having a little cold one in victory lane here. Congratulations to you guys. But your driver said after that first stop and the adjustments you made, it was game on. What did you do to that car?
We knew we were kind of be a little bit free the first run and just kind of had to make our way through it. And then, we took a swing at tightening up, there the first stop. And then after that, we never really touched it the rest of the day. So definitely we just knew we had to shy it on the free side. We've been struggling being tight, all these mile and a halves and big racetracks so far this year. So we wanted to be on one side of it, and we just had to get it back tightened up a little bit. And once we did, the speed was definitely there.
Congratulations to you. They led 125 laps today, and now they lead the points. Chris?
And thank you, Jamie. A dominant performance from Martin Truex Jr., driving for the cycle, winning all the stages and the race. 3rd time that he's done that. Harvick, the only other one to do it. And I thought it was interesting in the interviews, Harvick being clear that it was his mistake with that wreck early with Kyle Larson. And we heard Larson say that he thought Harvick would have had the car to beat today had that wreck not happened. What about if he didn't? Where does Truex and Harvick stack up?
I sat here, Chris, and studied the lap times, lap after lap. And think about this. On lap 169, Martin Truex Jr. took the lead. He drove home to an 11-second victory. I don't think Harvick could have touched Truex today. They had that 78 car tuned up right, and he was on it at the end. Sometimes 3/4 of a second faster than the whole field as he closed on this victory.
Turned the fastest lap in the race, and a 5-to-1 betting choice in Las Vegas, even though Harvick was the 2-to-1 favorite coming into the race, so he doesn't get his 4th straight win. All right, we weren't able to catch up with Kyle Busch, but we did catch up with Brad Keselowski. Matt Yoakum is standing by.
Brad Keselowski knocks down its 4th straight top 10 finish here at Auto Club Speedway. A day of fine-tuning, trying to find that sweet spot.
Well, no, we fired off, and the car was just really well balanced, Matt, but we just couldn't find anything more with the worst Ford Fusion. It was right there. We had really good short-run speed. I felt like those restarts, we were right where we needed to be, but the long runs just didn't seem to have anything for them. So it's a big weekend for our team. We unloaded not where we wanted to be by any means, and worked on it, had some great practice sessions and made some great adjustments, and just had a strong, solid day. We just feel like we ran to our potential. We got to get a little more potential, build a little faster cars and so forth, but the team did a great job trimming it out, and pit stops were great, so that's something to build off of.
Keselowski 4th here at Auto Club. Best finish for Ford today.
And Brad did a great job in the broadcast booth on the Xfinity race on FS1 yesterday with you guys. So how about Kyle Busch frustration as he gets his 3rd straight top 3 finish? He led the 2nd most laps. A little bit of an adjustment. You could hear on the radio how frustrated he was because he thought he had a fast car.
Yeah, and the adjustment went the wrong way, and then his day went the wrong way. He just faded at the end of the race and lost 2nd. But if it's any consolation to Kyle Busch, you're not going to beat Martin Truex today. He just had the car it was going to take to win the race. And I know the frustration when you're so close. He's been close all year long with a couple of 2nd-place finishes. I understand his frustration.
Starting on the front row with Truex, that all Toyota front row, and a pretty good Ford finish. Logano wound up 5th. Let's check in with him.
Great day by Team Penske all around. 3 cars in the top 10. But I think when you look at this day and you walk away, your pit crew on pit road, they were stellar.
Unbelievable. Pit crew is incredible today. Every time we came on pit road, we gained spots, and they kept us in the hunt. And we had a really good Auto Club Fusion as well, just not quite fast enough. Maybe we could have finished 3rd-ish. If we had a good run there at the end. We just made one adjustment the car didn't like so much, and it kind of set us back a little bit, and then we never got a caution, so we weren't really able to recover from it. But man, I'd love to win in the Auto Club car at the Auto Club Speedway. That would be so cool, and be able to sweep the weekend. But overall, a solid weekend from the Xfinity race to what we got right now.
Win on Saturday, 5th place on Sunday.
So 5 races of the 36 that will ultimately decide the championship, and Harvick looked like he was well on his way. The defending champ now gets into the NASCAR playoff. Austin Dillon, your Daytona 500 winner. A dominant performance from Truex, but it still seems like Harvick was way out in front of this.
You know what's crazy? Harvick wins 3 in a row, and he deserves all the credit in the world. A great job he did. But for some reason, when Martin Truex wins, you know, it's about the team and it's about Cole Pearn, that whole group. And I love that. Everybody deserves credit. But I just think Martin's a little bit, even though his dominating performance in the championship last year, he's a little bit underrated.
And we asked the question before about Jimmie Johnson. Would his streak of not being in the top 10 continue, or would Harvick's win continue? Well, Harvick, obviously that came to a crashing halt, but inside the top 10, a 9th place finish for Jimmie Johnson. You saw where he was in the standings, and Matt Yoakum caught up with the driver of the 48 moments ago.
Solid performance by Jimmie Johnson and the entire 48 team. Top 10, this is what you guys have been looking to build on.
Yeah, I mean, each week we've been getting a little bit better, and you know, it's been we're definitely not happy with where we are right now, but to see the improvements, we've been seeing it internally, and making the cars drive better and better and get more competitive. So a strong day for the Lotus Pro Chevy. Definitely not where we want to be, but we're getting closer every week.
What stood out to you most about the trends of the race? Typical Auto Club Speedway, or a little bit different this time with the left side tire?
It just seemed like we had more durability with that left side tire on lower tire pressures. I don't believe we had any issues relative to that, and that's something we're always very scared of here, especially on green flag stops when those tire pressures are low. So we didn't have that today, but you know, my guys had great pit stops. Chad called a great race, and we had a good solid day, so we'll take it.
9th place for Jimmie Johnson.
Still the last driver to win 4 consecutive races, Jimmie Johnson, back in 2007. So as we bring in the guys upstairs, Michael, in the last, 65 races, nobody has won more races than Martin Truex Jr., 13 during that time, and out defending his title. Remember, he did it in the Xfinity Series, won back-to-back championships. So at least he put his name in the hat to keep an eye on again for a repeat performance.
Well, he put it in overdrive. I mean, only 10 cars on the lead lap. When you win by 11 seconds, second largest margin of victory ever at this racetrack. Wow.
Well, I was a little concerned when they dropped the green flag, because he went backwards, meaning Martin Truex Jr. And then you heard Cole Pearn and Martin Truex Jr. talk about being a little bit loose. Great adjustments, and after that, no more adjustments, and that car was on rails all day long. So back to what the form is that we've seen with those guys in the past.
Mike, they're just in the room big enough to do what he did today. I mean, he started from the pole, he won all 3 stages, and he won the race going away. That is a dominant performance. I haven't seen anything like that since we saw Charlotte, when he did it over Charlotte.
He's never won on a short track in the Cup Series, and that's where we head next, Martinsville. Here's Vince with Erik Jones.
Yeah, another one of the Toyotas in the top 10, finished 7th today, your 3rd straight top 10 this season. How was it throughout the course of the day for you guys, though?
Well, it was sometimes a battle. You know, I think we had a decent car and had decent speed all weekend, but you know, just too loose off in the race. The Sirius XM Camry started off kind of like that and ran like that for most of the day. So just weren't able to quite figure that out and get that balance between center and exit tied down to be as fast as we wanted to be. But you know, did a good job taking what we had and getting the finish we wanted. So mistake-free day and another top 10, and it's a good way to keep building.
Absolutely, well done.
Martin Truex Jr. sounded grateful in victory lane to get to do what he likes to do, and back in victory lane, the defending champ, first win of this year, puts the sticker on, and we'll have more live from Southern California. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. amazing that everybody is okay. The 18-car Kyle Busch getting a report that NASCAR, I guess, was checking for a missing lug nut afterwards.
And there's just one missing, so there'll be no suspension there.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clearing that up. Speaking of missing nuts, there's one who we have found here in the Hollywood Hotel after your crazy grid walk earlier.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun with Migos.
Yes, he's been talking about it the entire race. After 4 overtime finishes here during the last few years, this one was all Martin Truex all the time after Harvick had the earlier problem.
And it leads to the question, can Truex run off 3 in a row like Harvick started the season? He was so strong the last few weeks. Today it was all about Truex, and man, what a victory they had today. But we're going to the short track in Virginia where Martin has never won before.
Yeah, and Jimmie Johnson has won there 9 times. You heard him talk earlier that slowly getting back to where they want to be. This could be a place where they take off, although last year it was Brad Keselowski who won that race. He had to overcome a pit road speeding penalty to win that race.
You know what I love about Jimmie Johnson? You start on the ground floor and you work your way up. And today, if they go to Martinsville and win, I don't think anybody would be surprised with the ability that he has to wheel a car at that short track. But I'm telling you what, you keep telling Martin Truex Jr. he's never won a short track race before, by darn, he's going to win one, and look for that team to be strong next week.
He'll find a way to do it. Tonight on Fox, more fine programming coming your way, including Bob's Burgers, The Simpsons, later Family Guy, and The Last Man on Earth. So Harvick wins the West, 2 out of 3, but celebrating here in fine fashion, your defending champ. We're on FS1, 12:30 Eastern next Sunday, 90-minute pre-race show from Martinsville, and then we will race at the short track, and then Texas after the Easter break, and then Bristol. So 3 of the next 4 on short tracks, I should say. By the way, happy birthday, Pam Miller, coming up this week. Artie Kempner had his birthday last week. For everybody on our crew, thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox. Have a great week.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.